Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Gaowu. Treasure chests everywhere, SS's holy body at the beginning. Chapter 81. Treasure chest clue. In the old town of Linhai City, a purple treasure chest appears. Please go and open it. Old town. Yi Feng saw the treasure chest prompt and muttered to himself. As a Linhai City native, Yi Feng naturally knows where the old city is located. It was in the west of the city. There was a large area, and the buildings there were quite old. It used to be prosperous there, but then an infectious disease appeared and many people died. Those who were still alive moved to other places if they could, and gradually became depressed. Due to the sudden drop in population density in sparsely populated areas, infectious diseases gradually disappeared. Although the disease disappeared, the area never developed again after the depression. Many years have passed, and it is still very backward there, and the people living there are also a mixed bag. Because the buildings are relatively old, people call it the old city. Check how many people are missing. Principal Peng Chi's voice sounded nearby, and he said to the teachers. Before departure, the team was arranged, and each student was led by the instructors. However, there was a city-wide celebration yesterday, and the bloody battle with the sea beast had just ended, so it was rare to relax. The people who can come here this time are all senior students or above, and they basically have the strength of the military commander level. With such strength, it is definitely impossible for anything to happen in Linhai City, so we simply let everyone move freely. But when it was time to go back, several people could not be contacted. After an investigation, it was finally discovered that 20 students were missing. At this time, people from Yongwei University came over. Originally, the relationship between the two families was not that good, and there was always a bit of tit for tat. However, the situation at this time is special and it is not the time to care about these things. Have any of your students gone missing? Why, you are missing too. That's right, 23 students are missing. There are 20 of us here. After the two families had such a conversation, they immediately realized that something was wrong. If only a few people lost contact, it could be because of something, but now, there are more than 40 people who cannot be contacted in their two universities alone. As a student from a top university, discipline is not too bad, and it is impossible to lose contact with so many people at the same time. What happened? A strong man with a square face and strong blood approached and asked proactively. He is the director of the Linhai City Security Bureau, a strong martial artist, and he was among the members who went to see yesterday. Experts from all walks of life have traveled thousands of miles to come here to help, and now they are ready to leave. Naturally, he needs to come and give them a lift. But now I saw that they seemed to be delayed by something, so I took the initiative to ask. A total of more than 40 students from our two schools have disappeared. Punch said to the chief of security. When the director heard this, he was stunned for a moment, then frowned slightly. Don't worry, I'll have someone investigate right away. In his territory, if something happens to students here, especially these students who come to help fight against sea monsters, the impact will be too great. The director did not dare to delay and immediately notified his police officers to quickly launch an investigation. Visits should be carried out, and monitoring should be checked and monitored. Then, reports of disappearances from other groups were received one after another, and the security chief was under increasing pressure. The number of missing people has exceeded 200. Because of this, everyone continued to delay in Linhai City. Everyone who had nothing to do, formed a team and spontaneously searched for the missing students to see if they could find them. Yi Feng also took this opportunity to escape temporarily. Let's go to the old city first and open the treasure chest first. As you move toward the west of the city, the prosperity gradually decreases. In other places, there are many high-rise buildings, prosperous commerce and dense population. In the west of the city, the buildings are older and the population density is getting lower and lower. Especially when arriving in the old city, this phenomenon becomes more and more serious. Some old buildings are uninhabited. The glass windows are either broken or completely missing. The exterior walls are peeled off in many places, covered with moss or have black spots attached to them. Purple morning glories climbed along the nearby telephone poles to the top, entangled themselves in the peeling wires, and extended for a long distance. Yi Feng glanced at the purple arrow on the ground and followed it into the old city. Ta-da-da-da. It was broad daylight, the surroundings were quiet, not a single person could be seen, it was like walking in a ghost town, only the sound of Yi Feng's footsteps was left. At the top of a nearby abandoned building, two men stood there, staring at Yi Feng below. Can you see what kind of strength it is? The two of them were fat and thin, and it was the fat man who spoke. The thin man shook his head, I can't tell for the moment. The opponent did not use his energy and blood, and due to the distance, it was impossible to judge the strength. I'll give it a try. There were some scattered stone bricks on the rooftop. The fat man picked up one and weighed it in his hands. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and his already small eyes became more like slits. Whoosh! Throwing it suddenly and forcefully, the stone brick turned into a stream of light, spanning a long distance and reaching the back of Yi Feng's head almost instantly. Just when he was about to be hit, Yi Feng seemed to have eyes on the back of his head. He quickly tilted his head and the stone brick barely missed his scalp. Yi Feng turned around and looked towards the roof. At this moment, the fat and thin people felt that they were not facing each other like a person, but more like a terrifying beast. The cold eyes full of murderous intent were like a sharp sword thrusting towards them. Horrible. So terrible. I thought I was just a passerby, so I tried it casually, but I didn't expect that a dad would emerge from the test. Run. The strength of the two was not low, but they did not dare to hesitate. They jumped up suddenly and were about to jump from the roof of the building to the rooftop of the other side. Boom! A thick fluctuation of chi and blood came from afar. The next moment, the figure jumped from the ground over there like a cannonball, pulling out a string of afterimages. Appearing in the air instantly, intercepting the two people who were halfway through the jump directly from the air. Yi Feng grabbed a person with one hand, swung the person suddenly, and smashed the person into a nearby abandoned building. A big hole was made in the wall, and smoke and dust were billowing and flying in all directions. Before he descended, he condensed the soul soldiers, stepped on them and entered the building, and then put away the soul soldiers again. The fat and thin people were lying on the floor, vomiting blood from their mouths, and were seriously injured. Yi Feng deliberately restrained his strength, otherwise it would be no problem for the two generals to fall to death directly. In the old city, there are few residents and the environment is in decline. It is not surprising that martial arts masters can appear, but the presence of military commanders will inevitably arouse suspicion. In Linhai City, a military general can become the principal of a high school. How come he appears here, and two of them are killed as soon as he appears? Could it be possible that he could be a foreign warrior this time? Yi Feng didn't recognize the two of them and had no impression of them at all. Spare my life. The two of them had blood on their faces, looking at Yi Feng with frightened eyes, and begging for mercy in weak tones. Who are you? And why did you attack me? Yi Feng looked down at the two of them, his voice cold. We are the residents here. The bricks we threw just now were not intentional. We just threw them casually, thinking that there was no one down there. I didn't expect you to be down there. The fat man endured the pain all over his body and lied. As soon as he finished speaking, he howled again. Yi Feng's foot stepped on the fat man's palm, crushing his flesh to pieces. If you don't tell the truth, I will make your life worse than death. Yi Feng's tone was filled with murderous intent. Anyone who talks about the residents here will know they are lying as soon as they hear it. I said, the attack just now was just to test your strength. The fat man said. Why are you testing my strength? Yi Feng asked, adding, by the way, you'd better finish it all at once, don't wait for me to ask, my patience is limited. Yes, the fat man swallowed. We saw that you came to this old city alone, which is very suitable for arrest. Test your strength. If suitable, we will go down and arrest you. As for why we captured you, we don't know. Anyway, we are only responsible for arresting people and delivering them to the designated place. The rest is not under our control. Yi Feng raised his brows when he heard about the arrest. Before he came here, he heard the principal and others saying that many students were missing, and other groups and organizations also had people missing. The Security Bureau has been involved in the investigation. I don't know if there are any results yet. I didn't expect that when I went to the old town in search of the treasure chest, I would hear such news. Have you arrested a lot of people since yesterday? Yi Feng had reason to suspect that the missing people were also caught by these two people. I've caught 7 of them from yesterday to now, all of them are in the early stages of military generals. I captured 10 of them, including military generals and martial arts masters. The 2 answered honestly and didn't look like they were lying. Then the 2 of them combined, only 17 people were arrested, and the number of missing people was more than 200 since they left. So you still have accomplices? Yi Feng said firmly. Yes, we don't know how many people they arrested. Anyway, we are responsible for arresting people. After arresting them, we can just send them to the deep hospital. Where is the deep courtyard? The Shenyuan is located deep in the old city. It's a big courtyard. After sending people off, it has nothing to do with us. We have all confessed honestly. If you have a lot of money, please spare us both. We promise to change our minds from now on and never do bad things again. The 2 of them begged for mercy, they were really afraid of dying here. If someone was killed in this remote old city, no one would know about it. Even if they were discovered, it would probably be a long time later. Ha ha, Yi Feng smiled softly. I don't care at all whether you will be bad people or not. There are many bad people in this world, how can I control them? Hearing Yi Feng's words, both of them were overjoyed. Is the boss so easy to talk to? However, Yi Feng's next words extinguished their rising hopes, making them feel cold from Tianlinggai to the soles of their feet. What I am concerned about is that you have just become hostile to me, and I am a person who always takes revenge. Boom. Huge and powerful energy and blood erupted from Yi Feng's body. The strong force was injected into his arms. The long knife in his hand drew a cold edge and slashed across the necks of the 2 men. The 2 of them covered their necks, blood could not stop gushing out, and they soon died. Deep courtyard. Yi Feng glanced towards the depths of the old city. Then he looked at the purple arrow on the ground. Yi Feng set off and continued to follow the purple arrow. Other side. After investigation, things have made some progress. Look at the surveillance footage from the technical department. The last place where this classmate, Yang Wen, appeared was on Beishan Street. Looking at the direction he was walking, it was the North City Gate. The same goes for this classmate. The direction he is heading to is also the North City Gate. The security chief, Fang Pinghu, said to Pang Qi and others. He showed several surveillance images at once, expressing basically the same idea, which was that he suspected that these missing people had all left the city. Not all of them are North City gates, some are other city gates, but they express the same meaning. As for many people, the surveillance footage has not been found. The reason is that the technical department has not found relevant surveillance for the time being. According to this, they went out of the city. Maybe something unexpected happened and they lost contact. Pang Qi frowned slightly. Judging from the current information, it should be like this. Fang Pinghu did not dare to speak too fully. But I have given an order in advance not to leave Linhai City. They will not disobey. Also, the place where some of them last appeared is quite a distance from the nearest city gate, and some areas along the way are also very prosperous. Is there no footage there? Pang Qi said doubtfully, always feeling that this matter was a bit strange. I also consulted the technical department about this issue, and they said that the surveillance systems in many places are broken. Is it broken and not repaired? It used to be repaired, but then it broke quite frequently, so I gradually stopped taking care of it. Having said this, Fang Pinghu received another message. There is news from the city defenders that some people on the missing list have indeed left the city. Pang Qi nodded. Since he was sure, he should have gone outside the city. Maybe it was the first time I came to Linhai City, so I thought it was new, so I went out to see it. Others listened and accepted the statement. Just at this moment, Su Chani escorted a man covered in blood to Pang Qi. Principal, we have a new discovery. This guy was sneaking around and following a lone student. I just happened to catch him. He wanted to sneak attack the student, but I stopped him. I think it has something to do with this disappearance. At this scene, everyone's first reaction was not to look at the man covered in blood, but to cast all suspicious eyes on Fang Pinghu. The expression on Fang Pinghu's face was frozen. Old Town. Yi Feng followed the purple arrow all the way. Because he was attacked just now, Yi Feng knew that there was a mysterious force entrenched in the old city, and perhaps there were people watching in certain places. Therefore, Yi Feng's route forward was to choose those relatively remote streets, and at the same time, pay attention to whether there were cameras nearby. No matter how you walk, the purple arrow always starts from Yifeng's feet, guiding Yifeng in the direction. As long as you keep pointing in the direction specified by the arrow, you will eventually find the treasure chest. In this abandoned building, according to Yifeng's experience, every time a treasure chest appears, there will be obstacles. But the abandoned building in front of me didn't look like it was dangerous. Yifeng observed for a while and found nothing special, so he cautiously entered the building. Come to the third floor of the building. A purple treasure box was placed there quietly. Huh, is it so easy this time? Yifeng was a little surprised. However, Yifeng still did not dare to take it lightly before opening it. Be wary of your surroundings, get close, and touch the treasure chest with your feet. Snap! You opened a purple treasure box. Congratulations on obtaining. The 5th level stealth technique, Shadow Trace, has been successfully understood. It went so smoothly. Same moment. Treasure chest clue. In the deep courtyard of the old town of Linhai City, a purple, high-quality treasure chest appears. Please go and open it. The treasure chest opened very smoothly, which surprised Yifeng. What's even more surprising is that the new treasure chest clues are seamlessly connected. It's still Linhai City, the old city, but the location has been changed to Shenyuan. The new purple treasure chest is of high quality and can be used to unlock 2 items. The deep courtyard. It was the place mentioned by the fat and thin people I met before. Yifeng didn't think about this first, but focused on the present. The items found in the purple treasure chest this time are very useful. Shadow and Shadow is a stealth technique. When it is used, it can condense the aura to the greatest extent, and a layer of light and shadow will be formed around the body. This light and shadow will imitate the nearby scenery at all times, allowing the user to blend into the environment and make it difficult for others to detect. To put it simply, it is like a chameleon, with the ability to camouflage and hide. But it is not just a simple visual deception. The light and shadow formed will affect the perception and judgment. The 5th level stealth technique can fool even the Wuzong realm. Only those with strong martial arts might be able to spot the flaws. For the current Yifeng, it is enough. Yifeng tried to use it. As the shadow trace was running, a layer of light and shadow immediately appeared on the body, completely wrapping Yifeng's figure. In other words, no matter what you are wearing, or even the weapons you hold in your hands, it will not be affected at all and can be enveloped in it. Otherwise, every time you use shadow trace, you may not have to take off your clothes. Isn't that nonsense and tasteless? The 5th level stealth technique is obviously not so rubbish. Yifeng tried to move around, and the light and shadow changed with the surrounding environment. If you look at it from an outsider's perspective, you will find that no matter which angle you are looking at, Yifeng is integrated with the surrounding environment and has a high degree of concealment. Keep on the road and look for the treasure chest. Every time he looks for a treasure chest, Yifeng is extremely excited to find something good. This time it's a fine treasure chest, with 2 unknown things waiting for Yifeng. Along the way, Yifeng used shadow to move forward quickly on the avenue, instead of choosing a secluded path like just now. Even if there are eyeliners around or some normal residents, they will not notice Yifeng's existence. Come deep into the old city. A huge courtyard appeared in front of Yifeng. Is this the deep courtyard? The purple arrow extends all the way into the building in front of you. Recalling what Fatty and Thin had said before, the people they caught would be brought here for business. What secrets will there be in the deep courtyard? Looking at this ancient compound, people feel as if they are seeing a man-eating beast with its bloody mouth open. Go in and take a look. Now there is shadow trace, which is very convenient for sneaking. Unless there is a powerful martial master inside, and he happens to encounter himself while sneaking, it is absolutely impossible to discover his existence. Before entering, Yifeng let the Yunsang vine wrap around himself, forming a layer of defensive armor. In addition to providing a certain degree of protection, more importantly, it can fully cover the face and hide the face. To put it bluntly, even if there really is a martial master realm inside and it is noticed, Yifeng is not afraid of exposing his appearance and causing unnecessary trouble. As for safety, you can step on the soul soldiers and evacuate quickly. Just be careful and you'll be fine. Yifeng walked half a circle around the perimeter of the yard, and finally came to the backyard. Huh, what's the strange smell? Yifeng frowned slightly. Looking over the courtyard wall, I could see smoke rising inside, and I didn't know what was burning. There is a tall stone pillar nearby, like a telephone pole, with several cameras mounted on top to monitor all directions. As you can imagine, there are people staring at the screen all the time, monitoring every move around them. If Yifeng hadn't used shadow to hide his figure, it would have been much more difficult for Yifeng to enter quietly. Now, it's simple. Yifeng exerted force with his feet and easily climbed over the courtyard wall and entered the backyard. At this time, somewhere in the deep courtyard, there was a light curtain, showing many pictures and surveillance from various places. Many people were sitting inside, staring at the picture attentively. The person in charge of the direction of the backyard saw that the screen was as empty as before, with no special circumstances. He yawned and continued to follow. The daily work is simple, just responsible for monitoring a few places and reporting any situation in a timely manner. Little did he know, there was already a person sneaking into the backyard under his nose, swaggering around under surveillance. Yifeng entered the backyard and looked at the surrounding situation. The backyard was quite large, with stone bricks on the floor and several large stoves, each of which was pitch black and had traces of burning. At this time, one of them was burning something, and the flames were billowing. The heat wave came in waves. No wonder you could smell a strange smell just outside the courtyard wall. It turned out to be the incinerator inside, burning something. One stove is almost not enough. I will probably have to start another one later. As the footsteps approached, a male voice sounded. Yifeng followed the sound and saw two people, each dragging a corpse in their hands. The corpse was as pale as paper, without a trace of blood, or even a trace of life. Let them drag it along, and it was obvious that it had already lost its breath. Yongwei University. Yifeng saw that one of the corpses was wearing the school badge of Yongwei University. When he was hunting sea beasts yesterday, he took a quick glance at this person and had an impression that he was indeed a student of Yongwei University. This person was one of the people on the missing list. He was captured and sent to the deep courtyard. He didn't know what he had gone through, but he was now a cold corpse. As for the other corpse, Yifeng had no memory of it, and there was no school badge on it. It might be a missing person from another powerful group. The two dragged the corpse to the crematorium and threw it directly in. Sparks immediately flew everywhere and a crackling sound was heard. His movements are extremely skillful, and he obviously does this kind of thing frequently. After finishing their work, they left again without noticing that there was someone like Yifeng watching nearby. What on earth is this deep courtyard for? Yifeng's face looked a little cold. Without further delay, move on. From time to time there are patrols, working in pairs, following established routes. Monitoring, patrolling, it can be said that security has been achieved to the extreme. Even without the fat and thin people informing them in advance, from these phenomena alone, coupled with the burning of corpses, we all know that there is something wrong here. Yifeng ignored these patrol officers and did not alert others for now. Follow the purple arrow and keep moving forward. Yifeng had a hunch that the location of the purple treasure box must be related to the missing person, and everything would be clear by then. Gradually, we came to the central area of the deep courtyard. As we get closer to this place, the security becomes tighter. There are more patrols and more people walking back and forth. The surveillance above has no blind spots and is filming every corner. This is it. There is a huge building in front, like a prison cell. At this time, the door was closed tightly and the windows were sealed tightly. The purple arrow extends into this building. How do I get in? Regardless of whether you push the door in or break the window, you will be noticed by the patrol guards nearby. Before the matter is completely clear, Yifeng does not intend to expose it prematurely. If the enemy is in the light and we are in the dark, the advantage will be greater. Whether to fight or retreat, the initiative lies in your own hands. At this moment, the closed door was suddenly pushed open, and a person came out. This person was dragging a corpse in his hands, just like the two people he met in the backyard before. Just as this person came out, he turned around and was about to push the door back. Yifeng took this opportunity and slipped in directly. The man scratched his head, his face full of confusion, turned his head and looked around, but found nothing unusual. At that moment, he always felt as if someone was passing by. Did you drink too much last night? Isn't it? It's only 7 times. Shaking his head, he stopped thinking about it, closed the door, and dragged the body towards the backyard. It's not that his perception is so sensitive, it's mainly because Yifeng was too close to him just now. His intuition told him that something was wrong nearby, but unfortunately his strength did not allow him to discover anything. Yifeng entered and walked on a wide walkway. There are studios on both sides of the corridor. In the several studios we passed ahead, there were several workers inside. They were using porcelain bottles, putting red pills into them, sealing them, and placing them on nearby shelves. Yifeng glanced at it. In the middle of the porcelain bottle, there was a label with the words, Holy Blood Pill. Even Yifeng, who didn't pay much attention to elixirs, knew about this elixir and it was very famous. The holy blood pills on the market come in various specifications, first grade, second grade and third grade. Even the lowest grade is several times more expensive than other elixirs in the same level. The price is expensive, but the sales are very popular, and they are often sold out, which is quite strange. I heard that this is a kind of elixir secretly developed by Raiching Pharmaceutical Group. After warriors take it, it has few side effects and a high absorption rate. The effect is much better than similar elixirs. That's why they dare to sell it so expensively. They have a unique secret recipe that can't be bought anywhere else, and the effect is indeed very good. There is no false propaganda. After word of mouth spreads, the business is getting better and better, and the supply exceeds demand. But what puzzles Yifeng is that there are actually workers in the mysterious deep courtyard of the old city who are sealing the holy blood pill. Raiching Pharmaceutical Group should not arrange its workshop here. As he got to know more, Yifeng felt more and more that things were getting weirder and weirder. There was a vague hunch in my heart, and I had some kind of conjecture. It just depends on whether the next step is what you think. Yifeng moved on. When I saw the workroom, the work content was different. There are many auxiliary ingredients and herbs in it, which have a strong medicinal smell, and there are machines running rumblingly. According to a certain ratio, the herbal supplements and a red liquid that have been processed in advance are put into the machine one after another. After complicated operations, red pills were finally rolled out from the opening below. They were actually refining elixirs. Judging by the appearance of the red elixir, it is definitely a holy blood elixir. It's just that the red liquid. Just then, a worker delivered another bucket of blood. It's human blood. This time, Yifeng was extremely sure that this was human blood. It had just been drawn out and was still warm. The red liquid just now was probably processed using human blood in some way. The resulting liquid was something Yifeng couldn't recognize for a while, and that was human blood. They are actually using human blood to make elixirs. Refining holy blood elixirs. All the questions are connected in a series, and every doubt has an answer. This deep courtyard is refining the holy blood pill for the Raiching group, and the so-called holy blood pill actually uses human blood as its core raw material. The source of human blood is the missing people. No wonder the effect is good. The blood of human warriors contains a large amount of qi and blood. After purification, various conflict problems are avoided. As a raw material for making elixirs, it is extremely suitable for humans, and the absorption efficiency is high. Take other elixirs as an example. They also use blood to make elixirs, but they use animal blood. No matter how they are purified, there is a gap between them and humans, resulting in a reduction in the absorption rate. Yifeng could already imagine that there was a place responsible for drawing blood. Sure enough, as I continued to move forward, I saw the blood drawing room. Someone was lying on the bed in a coma, probably due to drug use. There are also locked bracelets and anklets, all made of special materials. Even if you wake up suddenly, you can't break free. The man in a white coat was drawing blood with a syringe, drawing a large tube at a time. It's not like draining all the blood at once, but drawing a suitable amount and then replacing one person. Keeping them alive first can continue to produce blood to supply them with blood. But this does not mean that sustainable development can be achieved in this way. No matter how powerful the warrior is, if he continues to smoke repeatedly, he will one day die suddenly. Most people don't even wait for sudden death. They accidentally pull out the problem during a blood draw and belch it out. We had no choice but to drain all the blood from his body and squeeze out the last trace of value. Those corpses that were dragged out, such as the student from Yongwei University, were in this situation. I thought that as a warrior in the early stage, I could draw a few more rounds, but I didn't expect that I would be beaten to death immediately. Such accidents happen from time to time, and they have long been accustomed to it. In their eyes, life is no different from dead things. Yi Feng continued to go deeper and finally came to an inner room. As soon as I got closer, I heard yelling coming from inside. That's nonsense. Who can't be arrested? You want to arrest this group of people who came to resist the sea beasts. Many of them are students. Don't you naively think that if some people are missing, they will just leave it alone? This voice was full of anger. Then another voice sounded. The voice was a little trembling, obviously a little scared. Mr. Tang, isn't this just to rush the work? So I was confused for a moment and thought that these people are full of energy and blood and are very good. If I catch a few of them, it won't have much impact. After all, some people died unexpectedly during the resistance against the sea monster this time. Maybe I didn't have time to count the number of people and mistakenly thought I was eaten by a sea beast. Who knows? Who knew you were so stupid? It doesn't have much impact. I have tried every means to cover it up, fabricate lies, and mislead them. Unfortunately, your gang of catchers are as stupid as you, and they actually acted at this critical moment and were caught. Now, all the lies will be exposed on the spot. Then what should we do? They shouldn't have come here already, right? Now that things have come to this, we can only avoid the limelight first. Please take out all those important documents for me. I will take them away now. There was a sound of rummaging through the room. Yi Feng also approached and saw clearly what was going on inside. There are two people in the room. One of them stood, a long-faced man with a very sinister expression. The most eye-catching thing was his hands, which were fair and slender and better maintained than women. He should be Mr. Tang. Another person had just dug out a large suitcase, which looked a bit heavy and contained a lot of things. The moment the box appeared, Yi Feng's eyes lit up. Purple light emanates from this suitcase. The purple treasure chest is inside. Mr. Tang, all the important information is locked inside. This is a bald man with a fierce look on his face. His strength is at the martial king level, and he can be regarded as the highest person in charge of the deep courtyard. But in front of Tang Kun, he seemed to be groveling and treating him with caution, with a flattering smile on his face. The suitcase made of special materials was presented to Tang Kun with both hands. Mr. Tang, what should I do now? Baldhead asked anxiously. You know too much to let them catch you. Tang Kun's eyes moved away from the suitcase and looked at the bald man, with an unknown look in his eyes. Please take me with you. Baldhead requested. Well, then I'll give you a ride. Tang Kun's voice was cold. The bald man was just about to say thank you, but suddenly he felt that his words sounded weird. Boom. The qi and blood of Tang Kun Wuzong in the later period suddenly burst out, and he pinched the bald man's neck with his claws. The 5 fingers were like steel poured into iron. With a sudden force, the bald head's neck was pinched off. Dawn. In the eyes of the bald man, there was disbelief and a deep fear of death. He didn't expect that Tang Kun would kill him suddenly and kill him. After killing the bald man, Tang Kun shook his hand hard and threw the body aside like garbage. Only the dead will shut up. And you idiot, you have caused such a big disaster and still want to survive, you are simply wishful thinking. Tang Kun snorted coldly. At this moment, there was an extremely noisy sound outside. Quick, this building is suspicious. Let's rush in and take a look. Faintly, sounds similar to these can also be heard. It moves really fast, Tang Kun secretly thought, and pressed a button in the room. The wall inside moved and a door opened. This is the back door of the building. You can leave the building from here without having to go to the front door and meet people rushing in from outside. Tang Kun quickly walked out of the back door. Yi Feng also followed immediately. No, we have to take action. Tang Kun is very strong and very fast. He moves at extreme speed, and Yi Feng really can't keep up. Now one has to be surprised and have a chance to snatch the suitcase. Only by grabbing the suitcase can you get the purple treasure box inside. If we don't take action now and Tang Kun runs away, we don't know where he will put the suitcase later, which adds many variables. Lark shuttle. Ning. The energy of the bailing shuttle shot out from his mind, condensing into the appearance of the bailing shuttle. Boo hoo hoo. The bailing shuttle quickly disintegrated and turned into 100 sharp shuttle knives, appearing behind Tang Kun. Roughly divided into 3 parts. First, shoot Shang Tang Kun in his vital parts. Second, attack Tang Kun's right wrist holding the suitcase. Third, approach the suitcase. Not good. The moment Yi Feng took action, alarm bells rang in Tang Kun's heart. He could clearly sense that the death crisis was rapidly approaching. He doesn't know what happened yet, but he knows very well that if he doesn't take measures, he will definitely be killed. In desperation, he took steps to dodge sideways. But he was shocked to find that the suitcase seemed to be stuck by something and could not be pulled away by him. There was also an invisible force pulling the suitcase in the opposite direction. There were also several shuttle knives as thin as cicada wings, about to cut off his wrists. Without thinking too much, he simply let go and gave up the suitcase like a conditioned reflex. Clang clang clang. His right hand could not be completely withdrawn, and the shuttle knife cut on his fingers, making a sound of gold and iron clashing. The hands that look like thin skin and tender flesh are just an appearance. He majors in fingering. The hardest part on the body is undoubtedly these fingers, which can be used as weapons. But other parts of the body were not as hard as they were, and several places were cut. Fortunately, due to movement, the vital parts were missed. At this time, Tang Kun jumped dozens of meters away, feeling terrified. If he hadn't reacted in time, he would have suffered more than just an injury. The enemy behind him really wants him to die. Ignoring the pain in his body, Tang Kun turned around suddenly. Over there, he saw his suitcase, held up by many shuttle knives, flying towards someone. The man was wearing a green armor and was wrapped so tightly that his face could not be seen clearly. Soul Master. And, is this a demonized plant? Tang Kun still had a keen eye, and he could tell at a glance that what covered Yi Feng's body were demonized plants. But it doesn't matter. The main thing is that this person is actually a soul master. No wonder he can do long-range attacks. He also vaguely guessed how it came out specifically. It was a secret technique of stealth, and the level was still very high, and he had practiced it to the point of proficiency. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to suddenly appear without even noticing it. He had reason to believe that this person had been nearby since just now. He had to use force to show up. Tang Kun's thoughts are almost the same as the facts. It's not that Yi Feng deliberately revealed his figure, but that the stealth technique requires complete control of the aura. Once force is used, it means that it conflicts with the stealth technique. You can only choose one of the two. Either maintain the stealth technique or use force, but at the same time the stealth technique will be broken. Unable to do so, he can still use force while sneaking. When Yi Feng got the suitcase, he wanted to open it immediately. But it was locked, and this box is outrageous enough, actually made of Schwanen iron. Controlling the shuttle knife to cut on it can only make a shallow mark. It takes some time to break open, and it cannot be done in a short time. This way, this way. Surround us, don't let any enemy go. Following the sound, Pang Qi, 2 other martial masters, and some other martial kings surrounded him from both ends of the building. Tang Kun wanted to escape, but was stopped. Principal Yongwei and another Wu Zong attacked him. In a 2-on-1 battle, Tang Kun was injured by Yi Feng in advance. Naturally, he retreated steadily and was quickly captured. At the same time, because he didn't know whether he was an enemy or a friend, the remaining Pang Qi led his people to get close to Yi Feng. Whoosh! The bailing shuttle came together, Yi Feng stepped on it, and soared into the sky. Soul Master. There is a Soul Master among the enemies, and he escaped. That shouldn't be an enemy. We have met this Soul Master before when we resisted the Sea Beast, and we fought side by side, right, Master Su? Su Chanyi, who was nearby, reacted and nodded with a strange expression. Yes, it was not easy for us to deal with the netherworld giant octopus at that time. It was this Soul Master who took action to kill it. At the same time, I secretly thought in my heart, why is Yi Feng everywhere? Speaking of which, I still suspect that the one who killed the Purple Thunder Ray was also this Soul Master. Pang Qi said. This is not a random guess, but the soul weapon used by the opponent is composed of multiple shuttle knives combined into one piece. As for the cause of death of the Purple Thunder Ray, there were many holes in its body, very much like being injured by those shuttle knives. If the guess is correct, then this person's strength is probably not inferior to them. Otherwise, how could one kill the Purple Thunder Ray and also injure a martial sect? Pang Qi looked at the wounds on Tang Kun's body, which were also caused by the shuttle knife. I advise you to let me go now. I can pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, you will definitely regret it. Tang Kun looked a little embarrassed, but what he said was extremely arrogant. Regret? Tell me, what will we regret? Principal Yongwei said coldly. Starting from the capture of a catcher, a lot of information was interrogated, and the target was directed at the deep courtyard of the old city. Regarding the words of the security chief Fang Pinghu, there are various contradictions and there is a suspicion of covering up the facts. But the explanation he gave was that his subordinates might have been bribed, especially people from the technical department, which distorted the facts. Regarding these, it is not possible to understand clearly so quickly. In an emergency, they had no choice but to come to rescue people first. Unexpectedly, I also caught a big fish, and it turned out to be a Wuzong realm. But now, this Wuzong realm has obviously been caught, but his attitude is so arrogant. Where did he get the confidence? You are considered to be respectable people. Don't you know that some things are untouchable? Have you ever thought about how it will end? Tang Kun had a sinister smile on his face, which made people very unhappy. So, there are many people behind you, so we need to investigate thoroughly. The clear sky and white sun, the clear universe, can still make you lawless and unstoppable. Everyone present was not frightened and decided to investigate thoroughly, otherwise they would be sorry for the people who died. Yi Feng left the deep courtyard, flew a long distance, and finally entered an abandoned building. If there is no password, we can only force it open. Yi Feng put the suitcase on the ground. The soul power is mobilized to control the bailing shuttle. Bang 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 bang. A shuttle knife turned into a stream of light, like a gust of wind and rain, and accurately hit the suitcase. The sound of metal clashing was endless, and sparks were emitted from the collision. The scars on the suitcase gradually increased and deepened. This thing was quite thick, and it took Yi Feng a while to finally break through it. There are many documents in it. After a cursory scan, a lot of information is recorded, involving many people. It even includes experimental data on human subjects, complete evidence of guilt. Yi Feng ignored these documents for the time being and focused on the purple treasure box inside. Reach in and touch the treasure chest. Snap. You opened a purple, high-quality treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 points of soul power. Yunsangbean Instant Nutrition Supplement, the 5th stage. Finally the soul power is released. Yi Feng was delighted. Since I opened Su Chanyi's treasure chest in the Misty Forest last time, my soul power has increased to 27,000 points. Since then, there have been 5 treasure chests in a row, but no soul power has been obtained. Among these 5, Qi and blood were activated twice, but there was no soul power. As a result, the originally lagging energy and blood surpassed the soul power. Now I finally have soul power again. It is indeed a purple treasure chest, and the values it opens are many. After the fusion, Yi Feng's soul power reached an astonishing 57,000 points. I have said before that as long as it exceeds 54,000, it is the peak of the king level. In other words, Yi Feng's current soul master realm has been promoted from the early stage of the king level to the peak of the king level by jumping several levels in a row. There are still 24,000 points short of the 81,000 points required for the initial stage of the clan level. As for the current state of Qi and blood warriors, let me just mention that it is 36,000 calories of Qi and blood, which is in the middle stage of the martial king. If he had the current strength when he attacked Tang Kun just now, with the powerful cross-level combat power of the Soul Master and another sneak attack, he could really kill Tang Kun. As for the other thing, it was a bottle with a 5 feet mark on the bottle and a liquid inside. It can be absorbed by Yunsang Vine and quickly grow to the 5th stage. But now Yunsang Vine is attached to his body, and he will let it absorb it later when he is free. Well, these files. Yi Feng took out a stack of documents from the box. Before reading, turn on the recording function of your tactical watch and start reading. There is a lot of information recorded here, such as the information of the members, who they arrested, what kind of experiments they conducted, how much holy blood pills were produced, who they contacted, and how they were supplied, etc. This information is a piece of evidence of guilt. For Yifeng, the information is of little use unless he wants to get through this muddy water. Now that Pang Qi and the others are dealing with this matter, we might as well hand over the information to them. Turning off the video recording, Yifeng stuffed the files back into the heavy suitcase, hugged the suitcase, stepped on the soul soldiers, and flew towards the deep courtyard again. Deep courtyard. The people who came here have already swept through the entire deep courtyard. All the staff here were arrested and gathered together. As for those missing people, there are still many alive, although some are not in very good condition. Fortunately, they can be rescued. At this time, Pang Qi and others looked cold. What a holy blood pill. It was actually made using the blood of warriors. They couldn't imagine that someone would do such a crazy thing. Principal, the information we found is not very important and has little value. They had just searched out some information, but after looking through it, they found that they were all ordinary documents and were not of high value. No, there must be some important information. Pang Qi frowned and quickly cast his sharp gaze at Tang Kun, who was being controlled nearby. Did you hide the important information? Pang Qi said firmly. After running an organization for a long time, it is impossible not to leave any important information, even a shipping order or a personnel information sheet. But no, not at all. Even though it's easy to catch them now, they can still be convicted even without this information. But if there is information, it is possible to get more information from it and find out the people behind it. For example, as soon as he thought of this, the security chief Feng Pinghu arrived with many police officers. When investigating the missing persons, Feng Pinghu gave the result that the missing person left the city. But in fact, he was arrested and sent to the deep courtyard. After this incident, everyone became suspicious of the director. This time I came here to get ahead of the security bureau. The purpose was to fear that some of them would deliberately cover up something or let some people go. I know that you are very suspicious of me and think that I am in the same group with them, but I, Feng Pinghu, swear that I was also fooled by my subordinates at that time. The surveillance commander of the technical department has most likely been bribed, and some of the grassroots members of the city defense army have also been bribed, so they fabricate lies. I have sent people to control all the suspects. Then we will unite here and interrogate them one by one to give you justice. Feng Pinghu said to everyone present. Then he looked at the criminals and said, let's take them back first and then interrogate them. But he was interrupted by Pang Qi raising his hand. Wait a minute, I suspect that important information has been transferred. When Pang Qi said this, he kept staring at Feng Pinghu. I want to see some strange expression on the other person's face. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the end, and Feng Pinghu's expression didn't change much. There is no important information. Tang Kun sneered, seemingly not worried about his situation at all. At the same time, he thought to himself, that guy took away the file box, but it actually helped me a lot. He didn't know who the other party was, but if it fell into the hands of one person, it would have a better chance of getting it back than if it fell into the hands of a bunch of people. As long as we find that person afterwards and silence him, everything will be cut off. Wait, I suddenly remembered that there was a soul master who flew away from here just now. At first, I thought he was also here to deal with the Shenyuan, but now that I think about it, I seem to see that this person was holding a leaving in a box. Pang Qi suddenly said, yes, I also remembered that it was indeed like this just now. It turned out to be an accomplice of the enemy. Someone on the side agreed. Only Su Chanyi knew that it was Yifeng and did not think that he was an accomplice of the enemy. At this moment, everyone felt something and raised their heads to look at the sky. A square heavy object fell rapidly, and with a bang sound, it hit the ground hard, and several documents were scattered. It's that soul master. Everyone was looking up at the sky. There was a cyan figure above, with soul soldiers stepping on it, turning into a stream of light and going away. There is strong envy in the eyes of many people. As warriors, unless they reach the martial emperor realm or above, they cannot have the ability to fly. But that is the martial emperor realm. How many of the people present dare to guarantee that they can achieve it? It's not just a matter of effort, but more importantly, talent, which determines the upper limit. Soul masters are different. They can control the flight of soul soldiers with soul power, and then fly with themselves. But soul masters were rare. With so many people present, none of them was a soul master. They could only envy them. Yes, this is the box I'm talking about. Pang Qi was excited. Unexpectedly, this soul master actually sent the box back. Although the box is broken, there are many documents inside, all of which are intact. Could it be that they are confidential documents? Tang Kun's heart felt cold, and he was also very angry. Why did that guy send the documents back? If you don't want these files, why did you snatch them just now? Tang Kun was confused. When Fang Pinghu saw the document, he leaned over to pick it up. Wait, let me take a look first. Pang Qi took the lead and snatched the box away. Until now, he still seriously suspected that Marquis Fang Ping also had a problem. Even though the other party was the chief of security, he should have taken the lead in investigating the case, but the matter was so important that he had to cross the line to obstruct it. It's okay, then you take a look first. Fang Pinghu didn't care about spreading his hands and had no intention of fighting for it. Those who purify themselves will soon be able to find out the truth. Pang Qi took out the document and started reading it. Several other people nearby also came over. As I read through it, my face became more and more ugly. Each pile, piece by piece, was so bloody. When I first arrived here, I was shocked to see the holy blood pills on site. After reading these documents, I realized that they were just the tip of the iceberg. They have done this kind of thing a lot over the years. They are organized, premeditated, and well connected. First, there are the grassroots catchers, who catch lone warriors everywhere. Catchers are also divided into levels of strength. For example, those with weak strength can be responsible for catching martial apprentices and martial masters. Those who are strong can capture generals. As for the King Wu realm, no relevant records have been found in the documents. According to the different realms of warriors and different levels of blood, the grades of the refined holy blood pills will also be different. That's why there are first grade, second grade, and third grade products sold to warriors of different levels. Shenyuan is responsible for production, and Reiching Group is responsible for selling. As for people who have been missing all year round, it is some people from the Security Bureau and the city garrison who are responsible for providing false information to cover up people's eyes. For example, when the students disappeared this time, the surveillance footage provided by the technical department only intercepted clips that were beneficial to them. In addition, the city defenders made perjury to create the illusion that the missing persons went out of the city and were killed outside. In today's era, it is not safe outside the city. A large number of warriors die every day when they go out. It is a very daily thing. Among the people who have been missing all year round, many family members do not even report the case, taking it for granted that something happened outside, and reporting the case will yield no results. Only a few people reported the crime, and when they finally got this information, they were not suspicious. This method allows them to be lawless and arrest people arbitrarily in the city. It was not until this student incident that thunder finally broke out. Looking to the end, there are many people involved, but there is indeed no Fang Pinghu. Putting aside the extremely small probability, Fang Pinghu should be innocent. Pang Qi then handed the document to Fang Pinghu and asked him to read it over. With the information capturing ability of the powerful Wuzong, even if it is a whole page of densely packed words, it only takes a few quick glances to read it all. Without spending too much time, Fang Pinghu also finished reading the document. These worms, some of them were trained by me, but I didn't expect them to do such a thing secretly. Fang Pinghu gritted his teeth, his face full of anger. In particular, the surveillance commander-in-chief was promoted from the grassroots level. White-eyed wolf. What a white-eyed wolf. Fortunately, these people on the list were basically controlled by him in advance. It's not that he knows everything, but it's almost the same. As long as there is something suspicious, he will control it first and then investigate one by one afterwards. He will not let any criminal go, nor will he wrongly accuse any good person. Tang Kun, president of Reiching Pharmaceutical Group. Fang Pinghu looked at Tang Kun. This identity information was obtained from documents. Reiching Group is a local industry in Linhai City and is quite famous. But the CEO who appeared in the media before was not Tang Kun. Now it seems that Tang Kun is the actual person in power. The one on the surface is just a puppet pushed out to fool the outside world. Take them all back, keep the evidence here, and you can stay and seal the scene. Fang Pinghu commanded the personnel and the actions were carried out in an orderly manner. In the end, except for those who stayed to seal off the scene, everyone else evacuated. At the same time, a large number of other police officers went to Raiching Group to arrest their top executives. Regrettably, the actual people in power have long since disappeared, and those who remain are either puppets who are usually promoted in public, or some uninformed personnel. If he hadn't gone to the deep courtyard in time, people like Tang Kun would have been run away by him. In the security bureau, the prisoners were separated for interrogation. Tang Kun was personally interrogated by Fang Pinghu to see if more unknown big shots could be uncovered. However, he has a very tough mouth and it is difficult to pry him off, so it will probably take some tricks. It will take some time to figure out the case clearly. When encountering this kind of thing, the groups involved did not leave Linhai City and stayed temporarily. Perhaps they needed to cooperate in doing something. The place I chose was also near the security station, and I stayed in some large hotels, directly booking the whole building. Yi Feng had already returned and appeared in front of everyone as a student. The incident of making elixirs from human blood is very involved. If anyone knows that the Soul Master is himself, it will definitely cause a lot of trouble. In order to be quiet, Yi Feng was very careful not to reveal his identity as a Soul Master. Time passed and came to night. The moon hangs high in the sky, sometimes obscured by clouds, sometimes shining with silver light, and sometimes completely pitch black. Yi Feng stood on the rooftop, enjoying the moonlight and evening breeze, looking down at the night scene below. It was late at night, lights were turned off in many places, and there were not many pedestrians on the road. At this time, footsteps came from behind, and Yi Feng knew who it was without turning around. "It's so late, what are you doing up here?" Su Chanyi's voice sounded from behind. Lin Fang, admiring the moon. Yi Feng smiled freely, tilted his head slightly, and asked, "What about you, why are you coming up too?" "I can't sleep, so I came up here to get some air." Su Chanyi came to Yi Feng and stood side by side. A faint fragrance comes with the wind, lingering on the tip of Yi Feng's nose. As for seeing Yi Feng during the day, she was very sensible and didn't mention it. She just knew it in her heart. If anyone heard this, it would cause trouble for Yi Feng for no reason. Women's thoughts are still relatively delicate. Neither of them spoke, enjoying the quiet night. The evening breeze blew and the clouds moved, covering the bright moon tightly and plunging the entire rooftop into darkness. Suddenly, a flash of sword light with strong killing intent came quickly from behind. "Careful!" Yi Feng shouted sharply. The soul power was mobilized, and the bailing shuttle appeared. The position it appeared was behind Su Chanyi. Hundreds of shuttle knives, as flexible as fish, are combined into a shield. Clang! The harsh sound of gold and iron clashing sounded, and the tip of the sword, which was full of murderous intent and vowed to break through everything, was firmly intercepted by the shield composed of bailing flying shuttles. The man in black robe holding a sharp sword had a stunned expression under the mask. In the early days of his mighty martial arts sect, when he came to assassinate a martial king, it was supposed to be a 100% success. But now, it was intercepted by someone, and the sword could not make an inch. There is actually a soul master. He was surprised to find a soul master beside Su Chanyi who was stronger than him. "Wait, are you just?" He immediately realized that this person was the mysterious soul master in this incident. Yi Feng is so strong. Although Su Chanyi already knew that Yi Feng was much stronger now than before, she was still shocked when she saw it with her own eyes. She couldn't even react to the sword strike just now. The enemy was much stronger than her. If Yi Feng hadn't taken action, she would have been dead or injured at this time. Who is the other party? Why did he come to assassinate her? All the spearheads point to the human blood pill incident. Was the choice to assassinate her random? Or was the goal clear? Many thoughts quickly flashed through Su Chanyi's mind. A new round of confrontation is also beginning. The man in the black robe and mask failed to succeed in one attack, quickly retreated a few steps, and then attacked again. This time, the tip of the sword was pointed directly at Yi Feng. First deal with Yi Feng, and then kill Su Chanyi. However, he still underestimated Yi Feng's strength. Although Yi Feng's soul master realm is only at the peak of king level, he is in the early stage of martial arts. But the soul master's ability to transcend levels is unparalleled. Coupled with the 5th level Soul Soldier Bailing Shuttle, it is even more powerful and invincible. 100 shuttle knives can be formed into any shape under the mobilization of Yifeng's soul power. Can attack, can defend, can attack in separate ways. Facing the stabbing sword, Yifeng controlled part of the shuttle knife and combined it into a shield to resist. The remaining dozens of shuttle knives were broken into pieces and attacked the black-robed masked man from all directions like locusts. Not good. The man in black robe and mask was shocked. The shuttle knives were too fast and there were so many of them that it was difficult for him to resist. About to withdraw and retreat. However, located on the side of his arm, several shuttle knives were waiting for the opportunity to move, immediately increasing their speed to the fastest speed. Ah! With a scream, the black-robed man's right arm was instantly cut off, cutting off his arm. The long sword in his hand also fell with the broken arm. The man in black robe covered his broken arm, blood still gushing out like a fountain. With such a delay, there is no way out. The shuttle knives were evenly distributed everywhere around him, like poisonous snakes, staring at him. I ask, you answer, do you hear me clearly? Yifeng's voice was colder than the evening breeze. He. The man in the black robe and mask laughed, and his laughter was a bit sad, just like the silent night. I'm not so naive. I thought I could survive if I cooperated honestly. So, you can't get any useful information from me. Besides, I have come to carry out the assassination mission, and I have already been determined to die. His voice became weaker and weaker. After saying this, he fell straight down. From under his mask, black and foul-smelling blood continued to seep out. He committed suicide by taking poison. Yifeng judged. A professional killer like this is no different from a dead soldier. Every action he takes is treated as his last, and he holds a specially made highly poisonous capsule in his mouth beforehand. Once the situation is not right and there is no way to escape, they will bite the poisonous capsule, swallow the venom, and soon die of poisoning. The movement is up here. There was noise coming from the corridor, and it was estimated that many people came up. They had sensed the movement from the fight just now. What should I do? Su Chanyi was anxious. After experiencing this assassination, she felt more and more that the forces behind the human blood pill incident were very complicated, and the people involved may not be just those in the document list. How can it be easy to send Wuzong killers at will? They can assassinate once, but they can assassinate a second or third time. Yifeng's current identity as a soul master has not been revealed yet. Once exposed, he will definitely be hated very much. After all, it was Yifeng who was the first to arrive at the deep courtyard. It was Yifeng who held Tang Kun back, injured him, and even threw the confidential documents to everyone in the security bureau. With the means of those people, it is impossible not to know this. If Yifeng's identity is exposed, the other party will definitely send experts to assassinate Yifeng. Although these people who are coming up now are theoretically our own people, there are many people with mixed eyes. If they know that Yifeng is the soul master, there is no guarantee that the news will be leaked at any time. A martial artist died here and committed suicide by taking poison. Who on earth had the ability to force him to commit suicide by taking poison? If Su Chanyi doesn't have this ability, she can only be Yifeng, so what explanation should she give? Yunsangtang. Yifeng's right arm was straightened, and a green rattan came out of his sleeve. It quickly expanded and became longer, wrapping Yifeng tightly in almost the blink of an eye. The bailing shuttle formed a shield, and Yifeng stepped on it and quickly took off. At the same time, a large group of people came up from the corridor and just saw Yifeng leaving. It's that soul master. Why is he here? Everyone now respects and is curious about this mysterious soul master. It was the information given by this soul master that made things go smoothly, so they respected it. And who the other party was made them very curious. This soul master friend, why don't you come down and get together? Pang Qi cupped his hands and shouted to the figure in the sky. His tone was very friendly, he really wanted to make friends with this person. But the people above him didn't pay attention to what he meant. They flew further and further away and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Pang Qi sighed, secretly thinking it was a pity. Bodies. Someone died there. And Teacher Su, are you also here? The shouts from the people around him made Pang Qi regain his mind and also discovered the situation on the rooftop. This man was a martial arts master during his lifetime. Pang Qi was surprised. Not long after the death, there was still breath left. He could tell at a glance that this person was in the Wuzong realm. A person from the Wuzong realm actually died here in the fight just now. They did not forget that it was because they noticed a fight that they came up to check on the situation. Everyone turned their attention to Su Chani. It was obvious that Su Chani was at the scene of the fight just now, and she must know what happened. Su Chani took a deep breath and said to everyone the words she had planned in advance. This is a killer who came to assassinate me. But by coincidence, the mysterious Soul Master passed by and rescued me. The Soul Master is very powerful. He was so strong that the killer was unable to retreat, so he committed suicide by taking poison. Quote, killer, could it be? Everyone wanted to go together, which was the force behind the blood pill incident. As for why Su Chani was assassinated, in the beginning, it was Su Chani who captured a catcher, and the incident had a breakthrough, and clues about the deep courtyard were found during the interrogation. It may be this reason that caused the other party to hold a grudge and send a killer to take revenge. Do you really not know that Soul Master? Pang Qi suddenly looked directly at Su Chani and asked with a serious expression. Before Su Chani could answer, there was sudden noise coming from the direction of the security station below. The temporary location where everyone is staying is located in the area near the security bureau. At this time, there was movement in the security bureau, and Pang Qi and others here could detect it. What happened? Everyone was very puzzled. Why did it suddenly seem so noisy in the dead of night? No, someone is dead. Another shout came from below. Everyone hurried down and finally reached the third floor, where they saw a man lying in a pool of blood in room 404. The vital part came from the neck, with a deep wound, and he had just died. There was no trace of the murderer at the scene. Li Liang, the president of Yongwei University, came and cried out sadly after hearing the news. The person in the pool of blood is Li Liang, his senior tutor at Yongwei University, and has the strength of the king of martial arts. He was originally resting in this room, but he was sneaked into and assassinated without even a sound being heard. It was just the movement on the rooftop and the noise coming from the direction of the security station that woke up many people. Passing by Li Liang's room, he smelled the smell of blood and broke in. Unexpectedly, he saw this scene. Just now, a killer also appeared on the rooftop. Pang Qi told Principal Yongwei what happened just now. Do you know the origin of the killer? Principal Yongwei asked. The killer has the strength of Wuzong, but as for his identity. Pang Qi was mid-sentence when he suddenly saw something. Look, there's an envelope there. On Li Liang's body, there was an envelope. He went in, picked up the envelope, opened it and looked at it. Just treat it as a warning and a lesson to you. Forget everything, where you came from, and where you are going back. The red font looks very ferocious. There is no doubt that the envelope was left intentionally by the murderer, and the identity of the other party cannot be anyone else but the force behind the human blood pill. Pang Qi asked people to go to the rooftop again and found the same envelope on the killer above. After preparing to kill Su Chani, I left this envelope. He calculated countless times, but failed to figure out that there was such a variable as Yi Feng. There was a murder here, and Pang Qi immediately contacted Fang Pinghu. Unexpectedly, Fang Pinghu's feeble voice came from the other end of the call. Something happened here too. Reminiscent of the noise coming from the security bureau not long ago, everyone set off to the security bureau. As soon as they entered, everyone's pupils shrank, and the strong smell of blood hit their nostrils. What happened? Why are so many people dead? Looking around, in the middle of the field, there are corpses, at least hundreds of people. All were killed in one blow, showing the professionalism of the assassin. Some of them were wearing police uniforms and some were wearing prison uniforms. These people in prison uniforms were all arrested and interrogated during the day, and they were basically key figures. Except for Tang Kun, not included in this list. Killers sneaked in, all wearing night clothes and masks, and killed all the more important detainees. These police officers on duty were also killed by them. Fang Pinghu's voice was harsh, his face was ugly, and he was very angry. What about Tang Kun? Tang Kun is the most important person. He was not seen in the pile of corpses, nor was Fang Pinghu mentioned. They rescued me. When I noticed the movement, I came out to stop it, but was stopped by a killer. But I was defeated by this person. If I guessed correctly, this killer is a strong martial artist. He also warned me that it is best not to continue the investigation, otherwise I will bear the consequences. As soon as Fang Pinghu said these words, everyone in the audience was shocked. The Wuzong is already powerful enough, but he still has the Wuzun realm. It makes people feel more mysterious and afraid of the enemy forces. Not only was he powerful, he was also so arrogant that he dared to go to the security station to kill people and even rescued Tang Kun. It is simply lawless and lawless. Fang Pinghu has already reported it and contacted the provincial bureau. It will take time to send someone there. It was a long night, and they had no intention of sleeping, so they kept waiting at the security station. Other side, Yi Feng looked around at the night scene in the sky, and then returned to his residence. Put away his identity as a soul master and go back swaggeringly. There were many students in the corridor, talking about what just happened. The rooftop killer was killed by a mysterious soul master. Li Liang of Yongwei University was assassinated. The principal and several instructors went to the security bureau. Yi Feng entered the house and fell asleep. Even though Yi Feng is asleep, as a soul master, he has full soul power and a strong sense of his surroundings. Whenever there is a hint of crisis approaching, Yi Feng will suddenly wake up. Nothing else happened that night. The next day came in a blink of an eye. The morning light falls softly. Many people stayed up all night and looked tired. As warriors, it was not a big deal if they didn't sleep all night, but because of the assassination last night, their nerves were highly tense, which made them so exhausted. Yi Feng stood on the balcony, facing the security bureau. Yi Feng suddenly saw a black spot growing rapidly in the sky far away. If you get closer, you can see clearly that it is a human figure. He stepped on a soul weapon and flew quickly in the direction of the security bureau. It's a soul master. Look, there's a soul master flying in the sky. There were exclamations from the classmates around me. Yi Feng could naturally see clearly that he was indeed a soul master. Even though the distance was far, it still gave Yi Feng a strong sense of oppression. This person must not be simple. Apart from himself, this was the first time Yi Feng saw other soul masters. The soul master came to the sky above the security bureau and landed. Deputy Bureau Liu, you are here in person. Marquis Fang Ping led the crowd and immediately stepped forward to greet him with great respect. I have long heard that the deputy director of the provincial government, Liu Shanhua, is a respected soul master with extremely powerful strength. What I saw today is that the rumors are true. Facing Liu Shanhua, they felt extremely pressured, as if they were being pressed down by a big mountain. With Deputy Director Liu here, I hope the enemy will never dare to make another mistake again. Fang Pinghu said, half flattering. The tightness accumulated in my chest can finally be released. No, Liu Shanhua shook his head. I'm here this time to tell you not to get involved in this matter again. What? Everyone thought they heard wrongly. What you don't know is that this kind of thing doesn't happen only here in Linhai City. Similar things have happened in other cities, not only using human blood to create elixirs, but may also involve other bottomless things. Behind every crime, there seems to be a pair of invisible hands controlling everything. Can you understand? You don't have the ability to investigate. If you continue the investigation, more people will die. Liu Shanhua's words sent chills down the spines of everyone present. It would have been fine if it had been someone else who said this, but coming from Liu Shanhua's mouth, one can imagine how valuable it is. They had expected that the enemy would be very difficult, but they did not expect that it would be as complicated as this. Are we going to let them get away with it? Fang Pinghu was very aggrieved, being bullied to such an extent that he actually wanted to pretend that nothing happened. Of course that's impossible. The Yanlong army has always been responsible for similar things, and it's the same this time. Hiss. Flame Dragon Army. Everyone was surprised, because it was a special military branch, and people's impression of it was that it was powerful, mysterious, and rare. It was responsible for handling major events. Chapter 91. Liu Shanhua explained some more things and then left. Pang Qi and other foreign warriors also returned to their residence. Yi Feng learned about Liu Shanhua from Su Changyi. Yi Feng didn't expect that the matter would end hastily in this way. However, since the Yanlong army needs to be alarmed, it proves that the enemy is indeed very powerful. If the local forces here forcefully intervene, it will indeed be very dangerous. Yi Feng couldn't help but think that there were many strong people in the world, but his own strength was still not enough. At the same time, I also lament that some people risk their lives to protect their homes and countries, while others do everything possible to persecute others. This time I came here, I saw both kinds of people, which gave people a strong sense of separation. Reorganize the team and head back. For students who have had accidents, the school will contact their families after they return, and the state will also provide compensation. At this time, in a remote building somewhere, two people were standing, one behind the other. The person at the back was none other than Tang Kun. He looked extremely respectful and bowed slightly, facing the person in front. The man in front had his back to him, and he wore a jade ring on his thumb, which he rotated at a constant speed under the twist of his index finger. Suddenly, the movement of his fingers stopped, and he spoke out, "You mentioned just now that you were attacked by a soul master in the first place. As a result, you couldn't run in time and you were stopped. Do you have any clues about this person?" "There are no useful clues for the time being. I only know that he was wrapped in a demonized plant at that time. It should be Yunsang Vine, the soul weapon he used." Tang Kun described it in detail based on his memory at the time. "Yes, I understand." The man wearing the jade ring nodded slightly. At the same time, he secretly said, "We just need to capture some soul masters over there. Let's see if we can find this person." On the second day, the team rushed back to school. Yi Feng asked Yunsang Vine to absorb the 5th stage instant nutrient. "My identity as a soul master is now bound to Yunsang Vine and Bailing Shuttle. So, once I use these things, I must appear as a soul master, and no one can know that I, Yi Feng, am that soul master. Now that the enemy is powerful and the Yanlong army needs to intervene, it is necessary to hide their identity. Unless one day, you can no longer be afraid of this force, then you can fight head-on." Time passes. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. In the room, Yunsang Vine has grown to the 5th stage. At this time, it has a total of 5 canes. Each rattan, if released to its extreme length, can reach 40 meters in length. However, Yi Feng didn't let him do it like this. The room was not big and it might be filled up later. Yi Feng glanced at the ground and saw a red arrow extending all the way to the east. This is a clue to a treasure chest that suddenly appeared on the way back from the misty forest. It is a red treasure chest, which is a level higher than the purple treasure chest. Its location exists in the Jong family mansion. The specific location of the Jong family's residence is unknown for the time being. After learning this clue at that time, Yi Feng also conducted research on the Jong family, and even took the time to conduct on-site observations. Unfortunately, the Jong family's mansion is the Jong family's headquarters and is not so easy to enter. The important point is that there are many masters inside, including martial arts masters and even martial arts masters. Once you sneak in and are discovered, it will be very dangerous. But that was before, and Yi Feng now is more powerful than before. He is not afraid of ordinary Wuzong realm, the only thing he is afraid of is Wuzong. In the huge Jong family, there is only one person who can be determined to be in the martial master realm, and that is their current head of the family. As for the uncertain, the old family head of the previous generation was said to have been a strong martial artist, but then he disappeared without knowing what happened. Some people speculated that the old family leader was dead, while others speculated that he was not dead yet, but just indifferent to worldly affairs and hidden behind the scenes. What is the specific situation? The Jong family has never discussed this issue in front of outsiders, and outsiders can only make random guesses. Especially those forces that compete with the Jong family and have entangled interests, they really want to figure out this issue. Patriarch Jong, is he still alive? In a family, there is one martial lord, or there are two martial lords, which are completely two concepts. If the head of the Jong family is dead, the threat posed by the Jong family will drop to a lower level. Next time I have a conflict with the Jong family, I can be more assertive and don't give the Jong family too much face. The sworn enemies understand the key, and the Jong family themselves also understand this. This is also the reason why the Jong family hides it so that no one knows whether the old family leader is alive or dead. I won't tell you, so you can guess for yourself. As long as there is no answer for a day, the fear of the Jong family will always exist. Yi Feng just thinks that the old head of the family is still there, so in this way, the only threat to Yifeng in the entire Jong family is the old and new head of the family, the two martial masters. As long as you don't run into these two martial masters, there won't be much of a problem. Mainly now there is the secret technique of stealth in Shadow's Trail, which makes me feel like a fish in water when doing things like stealth. This gave Yifeng information to give Yang's house a try. If everything goes well and you can open the red treasure chest and even steal the god-eating moss, that will be perfect. Of course, the answer can only be known after taking action. Yifeng made some preparations and immediately set off towards the Jong family. The location of Yang's mansion is located to the east of Lingnan provincial government. This is a manor that occupies an extremely large area. The architectural style is rather ancient, with tall garden walls surrounding many pavilions and pavilions, giving it a hint of a city within a city. For warriors with a certain level of strength, it is completely possible to climb a wall of such height. But inside, the defense is extremely tight, with not only surveillance, but also warriors standing guard and patrol teams. Without certain means, it is almost impossible to sneak in quietly. It's so lively, Yifeng observed from a distance and found that the Jong family's mansion today was crowded with guests. They each brought congratulatory gifts and presented invitations. Master Yang's 60th birthday today. My Wang family brought a century-old ice lotus to express our congratulations. Everyone from the Wang family, please come in quickly. A group of people entered inside. 60th birthday. The volume they spoke just now was not low, and Yifeng's sensitive ears allowed Yifeng in the distance to hear the content of their conversation. The sky gradually darkened. The Jong family's manor was brightly lit and full of joy. On the flat and spacious lawn, dining tables are placed, with a variety of delicacies, juices and wine. The guests sat around the table and talked in twos and threes, and the scene was extremely lively. Those who can receive invitations and come here by invitation are all dignitaries. On such an occasion, it is a good time to make friends and establish connections. Perhaps in the blink of an eye, the two parties can finalize a certain business, bringing huge profits to the family and power. At this time, several people came. The guests in the conversation all fell silent and looked over. Surrounded by the stars and the moon, there is a middle-aged man. He is physically strong, full of energy, and full of vitality and blood. Judging from the appearance alone, one would have thought that this person was only in his 40s, but there was no way to tell that this person was already 60 years old. He is the current head of the Jong family, Zhang Yin, a strong man in the martial arts realm. The people who came with Zhang Yin were all senior members of the Jong family and had the strength of the Wuzong. A master of martial arts, usually a big shot, but standing next to Zhang Yin, he seemed to have no sense of existence. Everyone's focus was on Zhang Yin. Master Zhang. Congratulations to Master Zhang on his 60th birthday. May you be as blessed as the East Sea and live as long as the southern mountains. The guests stood up one after another and raised their hands to say hello and congratulations. Zhang Yin came to the top of the table, looking around at everyone with a smile on his face. Everyone, you are very interested in coming to my Yang's house tonight to wish me a birthday. We don't have much to entertain you. We have only prepared a few fine wines and food for everyone to eat and drink. We all want to go back having a good time tonight. Thank you, Master Zhang, for your hospitality. Master Zhang, I'd like to toast you. In the bustle, no one thought that a sneaking figure climbed over the wall and entered the Zhang family. Electronic eyes everywhere monitor everywhere without blind spots. The guards and patrols are no worse than usual. There are a large number of outsiders tonight. Entering the Zhang family, it is easy for others to fish in troubled waters and sneak in some thoughtful people. In terms of security, we dare not relax at all. But these are nothing to Yifeng. Yes, the person who sneaked in was Yifeng. He uses shadow, and as long as the enemy does not exceed the Wuzong realm, they will not notice him. Hidden by the mysterious shadow, Yifeng took action in the Zhang family mansion. The direction of travel is naturally to follow the red arrow. After a while, Yifeng stood beside a big tree. The Zhang family is very large and has good greening. Flowers and plants are planted in many places. When there are too many flowers and plants, mosquitoes will inevitably be attracted. For example, there are mosquitoes wandering around aimlessly at this time. Seemingly ordinary, Yifeng stared at one of them. If you just look at it from the outside, there is nothing special about this one. It is not much different from other mosquitoes. But Yifeng had been researching the knowledge about raising voodoo insects for a while, and he noticed that this mosquito among them was not an ordinary mosquito, but a wind mosquito. The Jong family is very good at raising various bugs. For example, the sniffing bugs in the past were quite difficult to deal with. The current wind mosquito is also a reconnaissance insect. It has a strong sense of the wind element, and if there is anything abnormal in the surrounding airflow, it will soon be noticed by it. This function of wind mosquitoes is specially cultivated to detect possible enemies. After all, possessing secret skills such as stealth, not only can one hide one's body, but one can also control one's breath completely. Even sniffing insects can hardly detect the scent. Conventional means are even more powerless. Wind mosquito is used to deal with such situations. The body is hidden and the breath is restrained, but you have to move. Once you move, it will drive the airflow, making it easy for it to detect abnormalities. If you can know its existence in advance and deal with it carefully, you can still get through it. The problem is that many people don't understand bugs at all. Most people don't even bother to pay attention to an ordinary mosquito around them. Therefore, it is very easy to fall into the trap and unknowingly expose your whereabouts. Yifeng noticed it in time and stopped immediately just now. Wind mosquito was wandering nearby, looking a little confused. It had clearly noticed just now that the airflow nearby was obviously abnormal, but now it felt it carefully, but there was nothing abnormal. This doubt was also passed to the owner of this wind mosquito, the GU master who cultivated it. But he didn't think too much about it. Sometimes it was possible for his perception to go wrong due to some coincidence. No, there is a real situation. Secretly, this GU master was suddenly startled. Because there was another message from the wind mosquito, sensing that there really was abnormal airflow nearby. Judging from experience, it was very much like someone was moving, and he couldn't see the figure, so he could only use the stealth technique. Feng mosquito had already followed, and at the same time, the GU master also reported the person's whereabouts to the Jong family masters in real time. Yifeng sighed. Hey, I'm not the only one who sneaked into the Jong family. Yifeng discovered that the wind mosquito suddenly had something unusual and followed it in a certain direction. Yifeng possesses the talent of being a wind whisperer and has an innate sense of the wind element, which is also very sensitive. So if you look carefully, you can indeed notice that the airflow in the direction tracked by the wind mosquito is a bit abnormal. If it weren't for the wind mosquitoes, it might not have been so easy to find. After all, the surrounding space was so large that it was impossible for Yifeng to carefully explore everywhere. But if the wind mosquito points out the direction and senses at a fixed point, it will be much easier. The opponent's secret technique of sneaking should be very good, and his own strength is probably very strong. If it weren't for the weak air current generated when moving, which exposed his whereabouts, ordinary people would not be able to detect his existence. Yifeng hung far behind this person and followed him. The main reason is that the arrow of the red treasure chest happens to be in this direction. However, this person should have been discovered by the Jong family GU master, so it would be a matter of time before he attracts the Jong family. Yifeng couldn't help but open the distance further. Let's wait and see how the Jong family will respond to the intruder. Yifeng's actions at this time will not be noticed by the wind mosquito. Because he has the talent of being a wind whisperer, his ability to use the wind element is also stronger. As long as he pays attention, he can make the airflow so small that it can be ignored. In this way, Yifeng hung far away all the way. The person in front seemed to have a very clear goal, heading all the way to the Jong family's backyard. Coincidentally, the arrow on the red treasure chest also points to the backyard. The Jong family's backyard is not generally large, the environment is very good, and there is even a large rockery. At a glance, there are mountains, water, flowers and grass. This person took great risks and sneaked into the Jong family. He definitely didn't just come to enjoy the scenery in the Jong family's backyard. Could it be that there is some secret in the backyard? Yifeng could not see the specific location of the red treasure chest for the time being. He only saw a red arrow extending all the way to the rockery. Others will definitely not know about the treasure box, so there must be other reasons for others to sneak in. This made Yi Feng even more curious. What is there in the Zhang family's backyard? The person in front of him, even though he has the sneaking skill, still habitually uses trees and other obstacles to move towards the rockery. The more the Zhang family dares not publicly prove that the head of the Zhang family is still alive, the more it means there is something wrong. According to the latest information investigated, this old family leader may really be alive, but due to some shady issues, he cannot appear in public. The sneaking person secretly thought in his heart and looked in the direction of the rockery. According to the informant's information, the Zhang family's backyard is an absolutely forbidden area. No one can go near the backyard without the owner's permission. In the entire Zhang family, only a few high-ranking people are eligible to enter the backyard. Isn't that enough to explain the problem? If the Zhang family has any secrets, then if you search in this backyard, there is a high probability that you can find the answer. Strange, why is there no one guarding it? The sneaking person felt very confused. He has already entered the backyard and gone a long way deep, but he hasn't seen anyone around him yet. Where is the forbidden area that was promised? Which forbidden area doesn't even have a guard? Wait, no. At this moment, several powerful auras came from all directions. It turns out there are so many people hiding around. He was surprised at first, and then confused. Wasn't he using the secret technique of stealth? How could he be discovered? Or maybe they didn't actually notice it, but they just happened to show up because of something. He was still holding on to the last bit of luck. It wasn't until everyone surrounded him and attacked him that he had no choice but to take the attack and use force. After the stealth technique disappeared and his body was exposed in front of everyone, he realized how naive his idea was. How did you discover me? This is a man with an aquiline nose, and his originally serious face is filled with expressions of astonishment. The surrounding Zhang family members, as if they could see him, could actually surround him and kill him. Haha, it's not easy to find you. With all your tricks, do you want to sneak into my Zhang family? Tell me, which family sent you here? The Zhang family, the Yang family, or the Sun family? While talking, two people suddenly took action. One controlled the hook-nosed man, and the other pinched the hook-nosed man's jaw. Another knee hitting the hook-nosed man's abdomen hard, and with a pop, whatever was in his mouth was spat out. It was a capsule-shaped object with a shallow imprint. If you take a step too slow, you will be bitten. The liquid inside, no need to guess, must be highly poisonous. You've come here and you still want to commit suicide. I can't let you die without asking for enough valuable information. The Zhang family and others sneered. As expected of a member of a large family, his experience is a wise one. He predicted in advance that this person had suicidal intentions. The hook-nosed man's face was extremely ugly. He fell into the hands of the enemy and could not even decide to die on his own. If you don't tell me, I'll let you have a taste of the latest bloodthirsty bugs cultivated by my Zhang family. You will be covered in bugs and suck all the blood bit by bit. If you think this is not fun enough, don't worry, my Zhang family has many varieties of GU worms. We can try them slowly. There will always be something you like. Devil. The hook-nosed man's face turned pale instantly, and he felt that everyone in front of him was a devil. I said, I was sent by the Sun family. The man with the hooked nose said weakly. Why did we send you here? The Zhang family asked. I'm here to investigate the situation about Mr. Zhang, and see if there are any other secrets. The hook-nosed man told the truth. Next, there was another cross-examination. He answered the same questions one by one. He was really scared, so the Zhang family captured him and fed him to insects. Now I no longer want to live, I just want to die happily. After asking about the situation, the hook-nosed man said anxiously, I have already confessed everything, please give me a good time. Well, the performance is good. The Zhang family said with a smile. Whoosh, several people had a tacit understanding, and they all took action without any warning. Ah, the hook-nosed man howled miserably. His hand tendons and hamstrings were directly severed, and even though he had the martial arts realm, he became a useless person. Tug it away and feed it to the insects. You, the Zhang family, will not die well. Even if I am a ghost, I will not let you go. Amidst angry curses, the hook-nosed man was dragged out of the backyard. Yi Feng witnessed the whole process. There are 10 Jong family members hiding in the backyard, and every one of them is in the Wuzong realm. There are really many martial sects in the Jong family. Their location was roughly near the rockery. As for the Wuzong realm, Yifeng is not afraid. The shadows can completely fool them. And with the talent of Wind Whisperer, Yifeng would not be noticed by Wind Mosquito as long as he paid attention. It is completely possible to get close to the rockery quietly. But what happened here may have attracted the attention of the Jong family, so Yifeng decided to wait and see what happens. In view of the strength of the Jong family leader, who is a strong martial artist and can see through the shadows, Yifeng did not dare to stand there arrogantly. Instead, he found a bush in the corner and hid his body in it. In this way, even if the owner of the family comes over, he will basically not be discovered. Unless he knew in advance that he was hiding here, and then specially scanned this area with his senses, it would be absolutely impossible to find him. It was almost as expected by Yifeng. After something happened here, someone informed Zhang Yin, who was still celebrating his birthday party over there. Saying goodbye to the guests, he quickly headed to the backyard. Master. All the martial arts sects in the backyard saluted Zhang Yin respectfully. Well, have you asked for any information? I've basically finished asking. He was sent by the Sun family, and the infiltrator was also dragged away to feed the insects. HMPH. The Sun family is this sworn enemy again. Just wait, one day I will make the Sun family fall apart. Zhang Yin snorted coldly, and then said to everyone, there are many guests tonight, and those sworn enemies will probably send people to fish in troubled waters. Please be careful not to make any mistakes. Yes, Master. Zhang Yin looked at the rockery in front of him, with an inexplicable light flashing in his eyes. I saw him approaching and turning a raised stone on the rockery. Rumble. In the middle of the rockery, the stone wall cracked from the middle, moved left and right, and an entrance appeared. The entrance is not big, only big enough for one person to go in. There is a long passage from which a faint light comes out. Zhang Yin walked into it, and the rocks moved and closed again, returning to their original appearance. The nearby Wuzong had long been accustomed to the strange situation and silently stood around. Ho! After a while, a beast-like sound came from the direction of the rockery. The source of the sound was very much like it came from the passage where Zhang Yin entered just now. Maybe because the entrance is sealed more tightly, the sound cannot be transmitted well. In short, the sound has become a little weak when it reaches Yifeng in the distance. The expressions on the faces of several Wuzong guarding near the rockery remained unchanged. There was just that sound, and it quickly fell into silence. After a while, the entrance to the rockery opened and Zhang Yin came out. Compared with when he went in, he was no different. Everyone is guarded. If there is any suspicious person, just capture it and notify me. Zhang Yin gave stern instructions. Yes, several Wuzong responded in unison, their voices sonorous and powerful. Zhang Yin left and returned to the birthday banquet over there to gather with the guests. As for the martial arts masters in the backyard, following Zhang Yin's instructions, they worked hard and paid attention to everything around them. Yifeng took no action for the time being. Now hiding in the bushes, even if the distance is a bit far, as long as you move, there will inevitably be movement in the bushes. The Wuzong over there was on alert at this time, and was afraid of being discovered by them. Until the night gradually deepened. The birthday banquet was over, the outsiders left one after another, and Zhang Yin also went back to rest. No one was found to have sneaked into Yang's house. Wuzong, who was guarding the backyard, gradually let down his guard. There were several hiding spots around the rockery. They returned to their respective hiding spots, half guarding and half resting. They are also human beings, and even if they have the martial arts realm, they cannot rest forever. Only then did Yifeng cautiously emerge from the bushes. This little movement did not attract their attention. Yifeng used shadow to the extreme, making it even more difficult to detect under the cover of night. Yifeng approached the rockery, kept approaching, and finally came to the entrance. If you look closely at it, you can't see anything fishy. If you hadn't seen it in advance, you wouldn't have known that there was an entrance hidden here. Just turn the stone and the entrance will open. Yifeng looked at a raised stone nearby. Unfortunately, this cannot be done. Once it is turned and the entrance is opened, the surrounding Wuzong will notice it immediately. Even if he couldn't be found, he would immediately call Zhang Yin. Yi Feng didn't have the ability to kill them all in an instant before calling Zhang Yin when the news came out from these martial sects. If Zhang Yin arrives in the end, he might be discovered again. Even if they are not discovered, it will make them more vigilant. And, what was that beast-like sound just now? Yi Feng has not forgotten the voice he heard from a distance just now. What is hidden in the rockery passage is still unknown. This made Yi Feng very curious. Yi Feng still chose to go back again. In the backyard, I found a relatively remote and well-hidden corner and hid for the time being. Let's wait and see if there is an opportunity next. It's best for these martial arts sects to leave the backyard temporarily because of something. At that time, you can try to open the entrance and have a look. Time passes. It was the next day in a blink of an eye. Nothing has changed, the situation is no different from last night. Yi Feng continued to wait patiently. 5 days have passed since this time. For 5 days, these Wuzong had no intention of leaving the backyard. They were like nails, firmly stuck there. When you need to eat, someone will naturally bring it to you. Yi Feng couldn't stand it anymore. The warrior himself had a big appetite. In addition, he needed to run the shadow trace all the time, which made the consumption even more urgent. Helpless, I left several times during this period to go out to eat and drink, stop the ghost shadow and recover properly. When he came back, it was no different from when he left, and he didn't miss anything because of it. Just when Yi Feng was thinking about when to wait and whether to think of a trick to lure these people away. That night, the situation changed slightly. Zhang Yin, the head of the Jong family, was holding a young man in his hand. Wu, the boy looked young, about 15 or 16 years old. His hands and feet were tied with iron chains, his mouth was gagged, and he kept making frightened whines. But no matter how hard he struggled, he was destined to be unable to escape if he fell into Zhang Yin's hands. Zhang Yin came to the front of the rockery, turned the stone switch, the rocks moved, and the entrance to the passage appeared again. Zhang Yin walked in, and the entrance to the passage closed again. The boy's whining was too small to be heard. Ho! After a while, a strange sound came from inside again. But there are differences from last time. The sound last time sounded a bit like venting emotions, but this time, it sounded more like an excited roar. Rumble. The passage reopened and Zhang Yin walked out of it. In his hands, the boy who was still alive just now was limp and lifeless. The childish face had a look of horror frozen on it, and the whole face was lifeless. Take it and get rid of it. Zhang Yin threw the body away like a piece of garbage, directly to the ground, then turned and left. The nearest Wuzong took the initiative to pick up the body and went to the GU raising area. It is very suitable to let some flesh-eating GU worms decompose the corpse. In less than a day, the corpse will be eaten cleanly, including flesh and bones, leaving no trace in this world. Yi Feng, who was hiding in the dark, frowned slightly when he witnessed what happened just now. What is the origin of that young man just now? After being captured, Zhang Yin sent him to the rockery. What happened inside? Things are getting weirder and weirder, and the problem with the rockery in Yang's backyard is getting bigger and bigger. However, what happened just now did not allow Yi Feng to find the right time to enter. Do you have to keep waiting? Yi Feng didn't know how long he would have to wait. Judging from the current situation, there are many secrets in the rockery. The Zhong family probably won't leave this place unguarded. They must have multiple Wuzong guarding it continuously. If this is the case, there will basically be no opportunities. If you force your way in, unless you have the strength to compete with Wuzun, it would not be wise to force your way in. Suddenly, at this moment, a new treasure chest clue popped up in front of Yi Feng's eyes. Treasure box clue. A purple, high-quality treasure box appears in the Zhong family accounting room, please go and open it. There is no clue here yet, but unexpectedly a new treasure chest appears. The Zhong family accounting office is still within the Zhong family. Let's go and take a look now. If everything goes well, we'll open the purple treasure chest first. Yi Feng left the Zhong family backyard. Follow the purple arrow and head all the way to the Zhong family accounting room. Come to the accounting room. The lights were brightly lit inside, and from time to time there was the sound of shredded paper being turned over. The door was only half closed, leaving a gap. Yi Feng turned sideways and could just enter it. Inside the accounting room, there are rows of bookshelves with many account books and books placed on them. In the middle, there is a rectangular desk, and a man is working there. There was a black mole on the corner of his mouth, and 3 long curving whiskers grew out of the mole. His right thumb sometimes touched the mole, which was his habitual action, and sometimes he flipped through a page and stared at the account book in his hand. By the way, 1 person was used tonight, so the accounts need to be done. The man with the black mole pulled out the drawer under the desk, took out a ledger, and opened a page with names on it. Wang Jiaqiang, male, 16 years old, has a spiritual body. Li Sheng, male, age 15, Chengmu spirit body. Zhang Miaomiao, female, age 15. At this time, Yi Feng was already behind the man with the black mole and could clearly see the information recorded on it. The format is almost the same, with names, gender, age, and physical constitution marked at the end. They have 2 things in common. First, they are not too old and belong to the category of boys and girls. Secondly, they all have physiques, and they are all wood-type physiques. Some of this row of personnel information has been crossed out. What does it mean specifically? Yi Feng couldn't help but think that the young man who was taken to the backyard just now actually had a suspicion in his mind. Then I saw the man with the black mole, picked up the pen, and heavily underlined a line that had not been underlined before. A young man named Chen Bin. Yi Feng lowered his gaze and glanced at the treasure chest. It was exactly where the man with the black mole was sitting. The treasure chest is actually not that big, otherwise it would not have existed in the human body before. Therefore, at this time, the man with the black mole was sitting, and the treasure box was exactly the same, embedded in his body. Yi Feng tried several times but had no chance to touch the treasure chest. As the person who manages the accounts of the Jong family, it even involves the boys and girls. Although Yi Feng doesn't know the ins and outs of this for the time being, it can be seen that this person is quite trusted in the Jong family. You can't touch him now, otherwise it will soon attract the attention of the Jong family's senior management. Just then, footsteps came from outside the door. The man with the black mole quickly opened the drawer and put back the account book in his hand. A beautiful woman walked in and closed the door behind her. Why are you here so late at night? If the 4th elder discovers this. Halfway through the man's words, the beautiful woman blocked his mouth with her hand. Don't mention that ghost. He went off to live and drink. He said with a charming smile, he is doing his thing, and we are doing ours. The man with the black mole swallowed hard and pounced on the beautiful woman. Look at how anxious you are, go to the inner room. The 2 of them chatted with each other and walked towards the separation. You have to help me pay off the money I spent before. That's for sure. If you don't tell me, I will help you get rid of it. In the midst of the raging war, these conversations were still vaguely heard. On the seat in front of him, there was no obstruction from the man with the black mole. The purple treasure box could be touched with his hand. Yi Feng touched it. Snap. You opened a purple, high-quality treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 cards of energy and blood. Complete understanding of the 5th level movement technique, flowing cloud step. Both items are very good. Merge. As Yi Feng gave the order, the energy and blood in Yi Feng's body surged rapidly in a short period of time. From the original 36,000 cards, it has been increased to 66,000 cards. After the Soul Master's realm broke through to the King level peak, the Qi Blood Warrior's realm also rose to several smaller realms, breaking through to the Martial King's peak. It is not far away from the early stage of Wuzong, only 15,000 calories of energy and blood are missing. The flowing cloud step is a 5th level movement technique. After fusion, Yi Feng directly masters the perfect flowing cloud step. With just a slight movement, he is much faster than before without moving the movement technique. Of course, inside the house, there is no way to test it as much as you want for the time being. Yi Feng was in the room, strolling around for a while, and couldn't help but look at the drawer just now. Gently pull out the drawer and take out the account book about boys and girls. There are a total of about 10 pages, recording many names, but most of them have been crossed out. There are about 20 names that have not been crossed out. Cross out one every 10 days. The crossed out dates are also marked. The dates are very regular. If they are every 10 days apart, one will be crossed out. Yi Feng fell into deep thought, and soon looked at a nearby desk, where there was a copy machine, and he made a copy of the account book. At the same time, I also took other account books from the nearby bookshelf and copied a few pages. After doing this, everything in the house will return to its original state. Yifeng wanted to secretly open the door and leave while the two of them were fighting inside, because the door was closed by the beautiful woman just now. Unexpectedly, the commotion in the room gradually subsided. What a fast shot. The two arranged their clothes and walked out. "Don't forget to settle the account with me," the beautiful woman warned her, opened the door, and left. "Don't worry, my little sweetheart." The man with the black mole was extremely greasy and said meanly. Satisfied, he sat down on his seat, picked up the account book again and opened it. He didn't realize at all that some things in the house had been touched. Yifeng didn't stay long and followed the beautiful woman out of the accounting room. Coming outside, Yifeng thought about the next thing. Judging from the observations these days, it is estimated that it will be difficult to remove the guards from the Jong family's backyard. Unless something big happens, there is a shortage of manpower, or someone is watching, and some secrets need to be transferred. Anyway, from Yifeng's point of view, the backyard definitely holds a huge secret. When Yifeng copied the account books just now, he was thinking about whether he could expose this incident through some channels and get the Security Bureau to intervene, or even the Yanlong army. Anyway, only you can see the treasure chest, and no one else can get it. No matter how big the trouble is, you are not afraid of others taking away the treasure chest. If things get serious, the Jong family will be under great pressure. Only then will there be an opportunity to take advantage of it, instead of just sitting on it day by day, as nothing will change. Well, let's do it like this. Yifeng made up his mind to use other forces to put pressure on the Jong family and disrupt their position. And at this moment, a new clue prompt for the treasure chest popped up again. Is there another treasure chest? I just opened one, and the process was extremely smooth. Unexpectedly, I had another treasure chest clue. Yifeng quickly checked the clue information of the treasure box. Treasure box clue. Wuxi Hall, a purple, high-quality treasure box appears, please go and open it. Wu's Hall. Yifeng muttered something secretly, not quite sure where it was. Fortunately, there are arrows to guide you, just follow it. Since there was a treasure chest now, Yifeng simply followed the treasure chest arrow and went over to open the treasure chest. The things given by the purple treasure box are all good things for the current Yifeng. The improvements brought about are huge. As long as you are strong enough, you will have much less worries when you open the red treasure chest. Yifeng followed the purple arrow until he reached the wall of the Jong family manor, and the arrow climbed all the way over. So it's not in the Jong family. Yifeng originally thought that just like the treasure box in the accounting room, Wuxi Hall was also located in a certain building in the Jong family's mansion. It turns out that it is not, at this rate, outside the Jong family. Without much hesitation, Yifeng exerted force on his feet, jumped over the tall wall, and came to the street outside. At this time, the night was dark and windy. There were not many pedestrians on the street outside. Yifeng used flowing cloud step with all his strength. Even if the stealth technique disappeared because of it, it didn't matter. He was already outside, so there was no need to worry too much. Whoosh! With the full support of Lu Yunbu, the already fast movement speed became even faster. His figure was like lightning, appearing at the other end of the street from one end of the street in almost the blink of an eye. This speed is comparable to that of Wuzong. Such extreme movement, the speed has exceeded 2,500 meters per second, which is more than 7 times the speed of sound, a proper martial arts speed. If he didn't use Luyun's step and only relied on King Wu's peak strength, he could reach the sky at a speed of more than 1,000 meters per second. It can be seen that a good movement technique can bring about a strong increase in speed. Wuxi Hall is about 100 kilometers away from the Jong family's mansion. If you move at extreme speed, you can reach it in just 40 seconds. But after all, we are on the ground, so we can't rush all the way. We need to pay attention, otherwise if we hit a pedestrian, the other person will probably turn into a pool of blood. Slowing down the speed slightly, it finally took only 2 minutes to reach Wuxi Hall, which was 100 kilometers away. Yifeng ran the shadow to hide his figure. Looking at the building in front of you, you can see that it is a majestic lobby, covering a large area and leaning towards the ancient style. Right above the gate, there is a long plaque hanging with 3 large gilded characters of Wu Si Tang, written one stroke after another. It is quite imposing, and there is a wind of martial arts coming towards you. This is not an area that Yifeng is familiar with. Yifeng doesn't know what the so-called Wu Si Hall is for. There is a way, it should be possible to find out. Yifeng used his tactical watch to surf the internet, locate this place, and search for keywords on the internet. The information came out very quickly, and after reading it for a while, I immediately understood it. The so-called Wu Si Hall is a place that provides people with martial arts practice strategies. The process is roughly like this. For example, a person who has just entered martial arts is not sure what kind of training plan will help him to the greatest extent and quickly improve his strength. You can find Wu Si Tang and tell the people at Wu Si Tang about your situation. The warriors at Wu Si Tang will give you a reasonable martial arts plan based on the specific situation of the consultant. These include what martial arts to major in, what type of supplementary medicine to take, and so on. Meticulous tailoring is much more detailed than the unified teaching situation of school teachers. Those who are not short of money may come to Wu Si Hall to inquire about relevant plans. At this time, Wu Si Hall has gone out of business and the door is closed. It seemed that Yifeng knew that it was impossible to break in through the front door. The arrow on the treasure box was not pointing to the front door, but towards the back of the building. Yifeng followed the arrow, entered from the side alley, walked for a while, and finally came to the back of the lobby. Hurry, drive the car in. At the back of Wu Si Hall, there is a back door, which is open. There was a car. The glass in the car was as black as ink, with no light transmittance, and it was impossible to see what was going on inside. The vehicle was driving at a constant speed, and with the sound of urging, it drove into the inner yard. Yifeng used shadow at this time, and the members here were not very strong, so they were completely unable to detect Yifeng's existence. Before they closed the back door again, Yifeng also slipped in. In the courtyard, the vehicles have stopped. The 2 people got out of the car, opened the back compartment, and pulled out 2 long sacks, which contained cargo and were quite heavy. The 2 were warriors. They grabbed the goods and carried them on their shoulders. The weight of nearly 100 kilograms was not heavy for them. The familiar man carried the sacks to the room and opened them, each containing an unconscious person. A man and a woman, both young and looked like teenagers. Let me see which 2. Another person came in outside the door. He is a middle-aged man with a serious face and a fierce look between his eyebrows. He glanced at the 2 people who were in a coma, and felt familiar. There were too many people consulting every day, and it was impossible to remember them all, especially since it had been a while, so he only had a rough impression. I had to use facial recognition to find out the previously entered information. Soon, information about the 2 people emerged. The man's name is Shi Hao and the woman's name is Ding Shui. They are both only 15 years old, and both have a wood-type physique. Regarding their identities, they had already been asked and recorded as early as when they came to Wu's Hall as clients, accompanied by their parents, to consult on the practice plan. Wu Si Hall has a large number of customers every day, and of course not every one of them has a wood attribute physique. But as long as you have a wood attribute physique, you will be targeted by Wu Si Tang. They will not come out openly, but will mark the information with special marks. After a while, they would send people to the area where they were active, kidnap the people, and bring them to Wu Si Hall. There are many rooms in the back hall, and strangers are not allowed to enter. When it was originally built, preparations were made for the rooms. The materials used in the rooms are special and very strong. Even martial arts masters can be imprisoned, let alone some young people who have just entered martial arts. Even if they wake up now, they cannot escape. It is no different from a prison. At its peak, there were more than 40 people imprisoned, but recently there have been fewer arrests. One person has to be sent out secretly every 10 days to the Jong family's mansion, and the use is getting smaller and smaller. Now there are only more than 20 people left. The people they captured were no different from goods in their eyes. Since they were goods, they should keep accounts. There is a record here, and there is also a record on the Jong family's side. Originally, since there were 2 new people here, they should have contacted the Jong family immediately to inform them of the matter. But they didn't do this, because they didn't want to use communication, which would easily leave clues. Instead, they waited until the next time they sent someone over and informed them together. Hall Master, why does the Jong family always need young people with wooden attributes? Over the years, we have captured many and sent many away. What are those people doing? The person who was carrying the sack just now said, a little puzzled. Just after I finished speaking, I felt an icy chill. The Hall Master's cold gaze was like a sharp knife, making him almost tremble at the sight. Don't ask so many questions about things you shouldn't know, the Hall Master said coldly and sympathetically. Although he is also curious, being too curious can sometimes lead to death. No matter what the Jong family told them to do, they would just follow the instructions and get a lot of rewards. Yes, the man responded quickly. The personnel exit and lock the room. It's all taken care of. The hall leader gave a low drink and left the back hall. Although the room is made of special materials and is extremely strong, it still needs to be guarded, and there are 5 guard members. Yi Feng came outside a certain room. Through the crack in the door, it can be seen that there are several people detained inside, and they are all asleep. Maybe when I was first arrested, I felt panic and struggle, and I also had thoughts of running away. I couldn't eat well and couldn't sleep well. But as time went by, I couldn't keep fussing like that, and gradually I became quieter and could sleep. Treasure chest. Through the crack in the door, Yi Feng could see that the treasure box was inside, placed in the middle of the room. Yi Feng turned back with cold eyes and glanced at the guards gathered together. The door to the room where the treasure chest is located is locked. If you want to enter, you have to open it, otherwise you will be noticed by the guards. Then, these guards can only be. Hiss. Why do I feel a little chilly all of a sudden? Look, the hairs on my arms are standing on end. Not to mention, I also suddenly had a very bad feeling, but I couldn't explain what happened. Several guards were naturally and inexplicably panicked the moment they were stared at by Yi Feng. Suddenly at this moment, several guards shouted in unison. Under the cover of night, a group of mysterious warriors, wearing night clothes, appeared quietly like ghosts under the cover of night, and climbed directly over the wall. Their expressions were tense and determined at the same time, and their eyes revealed eagerness and anxiety. Wu's Hall, there must be something wrong. Our missing children must have been kidnapped by them. Kill them and save our children. Several people in this group are the parents of the missing members. They didn't know each other originally, but they got to know each other during the process of searching for the children because their children were missing. Talking about the details before the disappearance, everyone found that they were surprisingly unanimous, that is, their children all had wood attribute physiques and had come to Wuxi Hall to consult on training strategies. Coincidence? It's definitely not that coincidental. After discussion, they decided to come together in person to find out what happened, and that's how things happen now. HMPH. Break into my martial arts hall at night and seek death. The 5 guards all showed their weapons and got into a melee with several people who rushed towards them. In an instant, the light of swords flashed, figures intertwined, shouts of killing and the sounds of weapons clashing intertwined in the back hall. Laugh. One of the guards was injured by an accident, and he took several steps back with a horrified look on his face. So strong. They were actually outmatched and quickly fell into a disadvantage. They were forced into a disadvantage by the rescuers. The situation was very pessimistic. It is true that the children of the rescuers have embarked on the martial arts journey in their teens and have wood-type physiques. Obviously their genes are not bad. As parents, they are also very strong. I originally thought that Wu's Hall was more professional, so I paid them to make suggestions and formulate training plans. Who knew that it was actually a trap? The purpose was just to allow them to screen out people with wood attribute talents from the vast sea of people. Who comes to my Wuxi Hall to act so arrogantly? The fierce fighting sound here finally alerted the hall master. Boom! As the hall master shouted violently, the powerful aura that belonged to King Wu surged in like a mighty mountain. Along with him came a group of powerful military generals and thugs. Among the rescuers, the strongest ones were only late-stage generals. When facing the hall master and others, their expressions changed drastically, and their secrets were not good. It's not like they didn't expect that the leader of Wuxi Hall was not something they could deal with. But he was so eager to save his son that he couldn't care about so much. He wanted to make a quick decision and took advantage of the darkness to quickly knock down the guard, rescue his children quickly, and leave immediately. However, this hall master came so quickly. You broke into my martial arts hall at night, I think you are tired of living. The hall master's eyes were cold and murderous, and he came over with a sword in hand. So strong. It's over. This momentum alone is not something they can resist. It is almost foreseeable that they will suffer. After learning the secret of Wuxi Hall and falling into their hands, there is absolutely no way to get out again. Just when everyone thought they were bound to die. At the critical moment, whoosh, several shuttle knives, as thin as cicada wings and flashing with cold light, were driven by the soul power and flew out quickly from behind a thick pillar. The shuttle sword seemed to have come to life. It shuttled between the enemies at high speed, bringing out sharp rays of light. The speed was so fast that even the hall master of the martial king realm could not react and was completely unable to resist. Ah! Blood splattered everywhere and screams continued. They had no power to resist at all, and there were many wounds on their bodies. Especially the hall master, who was given special care, was immediately crippled and fell to the ground wailing, losing all combat effectiveness. The incident was so sudden that all the rescue teams were stunned for a moment. I thought I was going to be doomed, but unexpectedly all my enemies fell. Which senior came to the rescue? Everyone was frightened and looked around. Finally, they all concentrated in the direction of the pillar behind them. If they remembered correctly, the attack just now came from behind them. However, when I went to check, there was no one at all. Senior should still be around, but he just doesn't want to show up. There are some seniors who don't like to show off. Thank you, Senior, for your help. Although they could not see their seniors in person, it did not prevent them from expressing their gratitude. If the seniors were still present, they would be able to receive their thanks. This is. On the ground behind the pillar, there were 2 documents, which they picked up and looked at. One of them contained many names and identity information. They can even find their children's names in it. Some of the names have been crossed out, while others have not. Parents who see their children's names crossed out feel an ominous premonition in their hearts. The other document contained some expenditure details and had the signature seal of the Jong family. Jong family. The Jong family is very famous, a famous family in the Lingnan province. Why does the Jong family's account book appear here in Wuxi Hall? They carefully studied the 2 documents, most of which were printed and a small part of which were handwritten. Look at the handwriting. It's the same. In the small part that requires handwriting, the handwriting of the 2 documents is actually the same, written by the same person. The person arrested by Wuxi Tang had the same handwriting on the book that recorded the information as the Jong family's account book. Behind the incident is the Jong family. Everyone felt chills running down their spines. It was the Jong family who was causing trouble. These 2 documents should have been left by the senior who came to the rescue just now. He did not kill the hall master and those people. The purpose was to keep alive and leave these evidences to expose us. They want to understand the key. But, that's the Jong family. There was a tall, thin man who was frightened by the Jong family's name. He didn't even have the courage to face such a behemoth. Why, are you scared? Have you ever thought that your child is probably in danger? People around me criticized him mercilessly. I just noticed that the name of the tall, thin man's child has been crossed out. No matter how much they said, it was better to verify it for themselves. They broke open the door and released all the children locked inside. The children were saved and all burst into tears. Dad, I didn't expect you to come to save me. It's okay, don't cry. When the children's emotions stabilized, after some questioning, they finally got the answer. It is said that among the people who were imprisoned together, one of them would be taken away from time to time and never come back again. Indeed, it's a disaster. The timid tall and thin man's eyes were red at this time. No matter who is from the Jong family or not, he will expose the matter and let these fools get the punishment they deserve. They immediately reported the incident overnight. Now there is evidence pointing directly at the Jong family. But before that, another preparation was made, which was to contact a number of well-known media to expose the matter. They need to build up the buzz first and get more attention, and they will be more confident. After all, the opponent is the huge Jong family. In front of the Jong family, they are just nobody. If they want to overthrow the Jong family, they need to build momentum for themselves. While they were doing these things, Yifeng secretly used Shadow to witness everything. Just now, the spirit power controlled the shuttle knife and injured the hall master and others. It was indeed Yifeng's hand. At that time, he was behind the stone pillar. When he took action, his figure appeared. When he retreated, he used shadow trace again, leaving 2 documents behind and left that position. The whole process was very short. By the time everyone reacted and went behind the stone pillar, Yifeng had already disappeared. The purpose of copying the documents from the accounting room was to expose the Jong family and allow many forces to put pressure on the Jong family. By doing this now, we can just borrow the help of the rescuers and others to expose the matter, so as to avoid having to think of another solution on our own. Yifeng started and walked into the room. There was a purple treasure box in the middle. Go close and touch it. Snap. You opened a purple, high-quality treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 points of soul power. 30,000 cards of energy and blood. Not bad, not bad. I have both soul power and energy and blood. This purple treasure chest is powerful enough to release soul power and chi and blood, each of which is a full 30,000. Looking at the 2 masses of energy, Yifeng issued the command, merge. Boom. The soul power and blood in the body surged rapidly in a short period of time. Let's talk about soul power first. From the previous 57,000 points, the soul power has skyrocketed to 87,000 points. The soul master has broken through a great realm, from the peak of king level to the early stage of Zong level. As for the energy and blood, it increased sharply from 66,000 calories to 96,000 calories. The realm of the Qi and Blood warriors has also broken through a great realm, from the peak of the Martial King to the early stage of the Martial Sect. The sect levels of warriors and soul masters, and the corresponding promotion numerical lines for the 4 small realms are 81,000 early stage, 108,000 mid stage, 135,000 late stage, 162,000 peak. A treasure box gave Yifeng a huge breakthrough in his realm and brought a huge improvement to his strength. Feeling the infinite power in his body, Yifeng became more confident. At this moment, the media people who came after hearing the news had arrived at Wuxi Hall. If something like this happened, if it were true, it would be huge news, and it would naturally come very quickly. They immediately conducted interviews with several people present, asked about the ins and outs of the incident, and took pictures everywhere in the Wuxi Hall. After collecting enough information, I went back and published the headlines overnight. The security bureau that received the report also had many people come. The case involved a big family like the Jong family, and they took it very seriously. If it is not handled well, it will have a huge impact, especially now that several well-known media have learned about the matter. After the report is published, it will attract attention from all walks of life. Mysterious Senior. In the process of questioning the case, a mysterious person cannot be avoided. This person was suspected of being a soul master, and he was hiding in secret. Everyone in Wuxi Hall was injured by this mysterious person. And left key evidence, 2 documents with the same handwriting, pointing the finger at the Jong family. But now, it is almost impossible to find this person. Because no one present had seen this person, and had no trace of him at all. They even called out the surveillance cameras near Wuxi Hall and checked a large area, but they also didn't see any suspicious characters. What they didn't know was that when Yifeng was still quite a distance away from Wuxi Hall, he slowed down his speed, then used shadow trace to get closer to Wuxi Hall. With the cover of stealth, of course they couldn't see Yifeng. Let the matters here ferment naturally, and Yifeng hurried back to Yang's house. Came to the Jong family's backyard again, hid in the darkness, and paid attention to the changes in the situation. Time comes the next day. The headlines of major news outlets published an eye-popping piece of news. Shocked, Wu Ce Tang, who advises you, actually did such a thing behind your back, and even involved the Jong family. The title is enlarged, bolded and marked in red, and it appears brightly in people's sight. After clicking in, browsing the content roughly, it caused an uproar on the internet. It's so dark. It's actually under the guise of collecting information and kidnapping children. What are they doing by kidnapping so many children? How could a big and respectable family like the Jong family get involved in something like this? It turns out that Wu Tang kidnapped my child who disappeared. The news mentioned a mysterious and powerful soul master. It was because of him that the matter had a chance to be exposed. Otherwise, the bodies of those who went to rescue the child would have been cold by now. Thank you to this senior soul master, otherwise Wu Tang would have harmed many more people. Wu Tang must be severely punished. The Jong family must be severely punished. The case is still under review, and we have to wait for the official announcement to know the specifics. While being hotly debated on the internet, Jong family. In the reception hall, the atmosphere was a little tense. Zhang Yin and several elders were sitting on one side. On the other side, there were several people wearing police uniforms. If Yi Feng were here, he would still see an acquaintance. This acquaintance whom Yi Feng had met once was Liu Shanhua. In Linhai City, after the incident at the security bureau, Liu Shanhua arrived there and told everyone not to investigate the human blood pill incident and just let the Yanlong army intervene. Now, if something like this happens in the provincial government, the impact will be extremely bad. As the deputy director of the provincial bureau, if such bad things happen in his territory and involve behemoths like the Zhong family, he must step in to deter them. Director Liu, I think this matter must be framed by someone. The forces that have enmity with my Zhong family have long wanted to kill my Zhong family. They probably sent people to sneak into my Zhong family's accounting room. I stole the account book, imitated the handwriting, and forged a list of people, making people mistakenly think that my Zhong family was behind it. You must be aware of everything and give my Zhong family justice. Zhang Yin's tone was very sincere and he pretended to be innocent. There was no way to tell what kind of anger he had in his heart at this moment. Everything has been fine for these years, why did something like this suddenly happen? He, the Zhong family, also had an intelligence department, and he learned the news quite early, but at that time, Liu Shanhua and his men had already come to the door, leaving him no time to react. In front of Liu Shanhua, he was quite honest. Although he, Zhang Yin, is very powerful and has the martial master realm, the person in front of him is a respected soul master. They were in the same realm, but the soul master's combat power was much stronger than him, so he didn't dare to make any mistakes. Whether it is unjust or not, there will be a result soon. Liu Shanhua said lightly. This time he brought a lot of people. From the moment he entered the Zhong family, he asked the people to disperse and controlled every place to prevent the Zhong family from walking around at will. The Zhong family's accounting office is the primary search target. Bureau Liu. 2 police officers hurried in from outside, carrying a document and the man with the black mole who was escorting the counting house. Director Liu, look, this list of people is the same as the one found in Wuxi Hall. There is also this person who manages the Zhong family's account books, and the handwriting is from his hand. Liu Shanhua glanced at the man with the mole and took the document handed over by the police officer. Opening it and checking, it was indeed exactly the same as the list of people found in Wuxi Hall. Master Zhong, please explain why something like this appears in your Zhong family. Liu Shanhua pointed to the list of people in his hand and said to Zhang Yin. This. Zhang Yin was speechless for a moment, his eyes moving rapidly. This is easy to understand, right? As I said just now, someone sneaked into my Zhong family's accounting room, took away some account books, and then imitated the handwriting and forged the list of people. One copy was placed in my Zhong family's accounting room, and the other was the purpose of staying in Wuxi Hall is to frame my Zhong family's relationship with Wuxi Hall. When Zhang Yin said this, he changed the subject. Also, didn't it say that a mysterious soul master appeared over at Wuxi Hall? I seriously suspect that this person did it. You should find this person and interrogate him strictly, and you will naturally get the answer. Of course we will find ways to find that person, but before that, you can't escape suspicion. Speaking of which, Liu Shanhua suddenly received a call. A report came from the other end of the phone. Bureau Liu, all the people from Wuxi Hall have been recruited. They said that all the people caught before were sent to the Zhong family. Well, I understand. After hanging up the communication, Liu Shanhua stood up and looked at Zhang Yin, his eyes were like lightning, and his soul power was faintly mobilized, ready to go. Whenever Zhang Yin acted rashly, he would use force to subdue him. Zhang Yin, I want to inform you that all senior officials of the Jong family will follow me to the police station for investigation. Lu Xianhua's tone did not allow for refutation. The energy and blood in Zhang Yin's body also began to stir up, and the muscles all over his body were tense, with the potential to suddenly explode. But under Lu Xianhua's gaze, reason defeated impulse, and he did not dare to make a mistake after all. He, Zhang Yin, would not be Lu Xianhua's opponent. Although Wu Tang has already confessed, he had already thought that such a day would come, so every time he accepted someone, he was very careful not to leave any obvious evidence. If there is no irrefutable proof that the person arrested by Wu Tang was sent to the Zhong family, then there is still room for maneuver based on the handwriting on the bill. It's just, all the high-level officials, including the martial arts sects in the backyard. He didn't want the backyard to be left unattended, but it would look very suspicious if he didn't. It would be bad if it attracted Lu Xianhua's attention and focused on searching the backyard. In a short period of time, the thoughts in Zhang Yin's mind flashed rapidly. Helpless, he had no choice but to follow the instructions and contact all the senior officials to come over. Master, let's go over there. This way. When receiving the notice, Wu Zong in the backyard was a little hesitant. Stop talking nonsense, come here immediately. Zhang Yin's tone increased and he didn't say much to avoid arousing Lu Xianhua's suspicion. Wu Zong in the backyard had no choice but to do as he was told, left the backyard and headed to the living room. Yi Feng, who was hiding in the dark at this time, saw Wu Zong of the Zhong family leaving, but did not take any action. He still used shadow to stay in a hidden corner. The Zhong family will probably be summoned to the police station for interrogation and investigation. Otherwise, Wu Zong here will probably not leave. Then wait a little longer until they leave the Zhong family. After a while, another group of people came to the backyard. They were wearing police uniforms and were police officers who were ordered to search to see if they could find some important evidence. Maybe I had a preconception that the backyard was not a very important place, so I just briefly explored it, didn't find much, and left quickly. They focused on the more important buildings of the Zhong family. In the end, not many valuable clues were found. It can only be said that the Zhong family has mastered the methods of destroying corpses and eliminating traces, without leaving too many traces. Under the escort of Lu Xianhua, many senior officials of the Zhong family, headed by Zhang Yin, were taken out of the Zhong family. Many media reporters gathered outside, waiting for this moment to take pictures outside. Although they really wanted to come forward for an interview, at this time, the case had not been finalized and it was impossible to accept their interview. They could only shoot some scenes outside the cordon and make first-hand reports. When the police car quickly drove away, the media also dispersed. Backyard. Yi Feng came down from the courtyard wall. He had just seen from a distance the long line of police cars driving away on the avenue. He knew that all the senior officials of the Zhong family had been taken away by the police. Red treasure chest. Yi Feng looked at the rockery over there, and the red arrow pointed all the way there. Now that the Zhong family's masters are empty, it's a good time to open the treasure chest. Yi Feng took a deep breath. The soul power in his mind and the energy and blood in his body were always ready to deal with the crisis at any time. I want to see what secrets there are in it. Yi Feng stretched out his hand, pressed on the raised stone, and turned it hard. The mechanism was triggered, and an entrance rumbled out in the middle of the rockery. A long passage appeared in front of Yi Feng's eyes, like a man-eating beast with its bloody mouth open. Yi Feng took steps and walked inside. Not only is he using shadow trace, but the Yunsang vine on his body is also tightly wrapped to provide maximum protection. The height and width of the passage are 2 meters, neither big nor small. Yi Feng takes neither speed nor speed, and takes every step quietly. Until finally, they came to a spacious cave. It's square and square, without too many furnishings. There is a jade box placed on a square stone in the corner. From the warm color of the jade box, you can see that it is of great value. The box made of beautiful jade and the items placed in it are definitely not ordinary. Yi Feng walked over, picked up the jade box, and opened it. Could this be God-eating moss? Yi Feng took a breath and his eyes lit up. When I first obtained Mu Bufen's research diary, I saw this piece of information. The God-eating moss seedlings were taken away by the Zhong family. Yi Feng sneaked into Yang's house for 2 purposes: to open the red treasure chest, and also to get the god-eating moss seedling. I thought that I would have to look for it later, but I didn't expect that god-eating moss was placed in the rockery, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yi Feng carefully looked at the god-eating moss seedlings. Its current state is very dry, and there is not much moisture visible. It is dry, black in color, and does not have much vitality. It is like dried moss, just placed in the jade box. Dead, or, the god-eating moss has been in the hands of the Jong family for 20 years. The current state it is in can only mean that the Jong family has not been able to develop a plan to cultivate it. Yi Feng was not sure whether he was dead or not. He took him away first and then studied it slowly. Yi Feng looked forward. Inside the cave, there is an entrance leading to a deeper cave. The red arrow on the treasure chest extends all the way inside. Looking at it from this angle, you can see that there is a cyan wooden thing inside. As he got closer and entered inside, the outline of the thing completely appeared in front of Yi Feng's eyes. A coffin made of eternal green wood. There is a rare tree called eternal green. It is extremely green, full of vitality, and contains rich wood attribute energy. Even if it is cut down, it can still maintain its vitality and remain green for thousands of years. Of course, no one has verified whether it can really last 10,000 years, and whether it is an exaggeration or not is unknown. Coffin. Yi Feng couldn't help but frown. When looking at this coffin, Yi Feng always feels uncomfortable. But by chance, the arrow on the red treasure box points to this coffin, which means that the red treasure box is inside the coffin. If you want to open the treasure chest, you must be Yi Feng himself and touch it personally. You cannot use other means, such as indirect contact with objects. Must go. Yi Feng took a deep breath, concentrated his energy, and approached the coffin step by step. The coffin has a lid, which needs to be opened. Yi Feng directed the yunsang vine to divide into several vines, stretched them towards the coffin lid, and moved it away bit by bit. A pale face that looked exactly like Zhang Yin, but was much older, appeared in front of Yi Feng little by little. He was lying flat inside the coffin with his eyes closed tightly. At first glance, he thought it was a corpse, but it gave people a sense of crisis. The treasure chest emitting red light is located on the chest of the corpse. Fortunately, it is not embedded in the corpse, but located on top of the corpse. The sense of crisis was getting stronger and stronger. Yi Feng did not dare to hesitate. He reached out his right hand like lightning and touched the treasure box. Snap! You opened a red treasure box. Congratulations on obtaining the 6th level soul skill, Flowing Shuttle Brocade, has been successfully comprehended. At the same time, the corpse in the coffin suddenly opened its eyes. The sense of crisis hit him like a needle. Back. Unable to think too much, Yi Feng quickly pulled his hand back, and his body quickly retreated. But the opponent's attack was really fast. At close range, the withered hand instantly grabbed the vital part of Yi Feng's neck. Yunsangtang. Yi Feng's eyes widened angrily, and the mulberry vines grew wildly, intertwining and tangled in front of him, forming a defensive net. Boom! The veteran hand, as dry as a branch, grabbed onto the defensive net. Its power was extremely terrifying. It exceeded the endurance limit of Yunsang Vine and was torn to pieces in an instant. However, it also bought a little time. Even if the masters exchange moves, even for a moment, they can affect the situation of the battle. Yi Feng's body turned into an afterimage, and he violently retreated out of the cave and came outside. During this process, Yi Feng shouted, "Merge! Fusion of the Flowing Shuttle Brocade, just obtained." The insights about Flowing Brocade quickly filled Yi Feng's mind, and he also had a clear understanding of it. Boom! The sense of crisis is approaching again. In the rockery passage, a thin figure rushed out quickly. Yi Feng's eyes turned cold. The soul power was mobilized, and the bailing shuttle appeared. Flowing tapestry. The soul skills he just obtained were also used immediately. 100 spiritual shuttles became more agile, as if they had life. They turned into flowing light, with a silver-white thread trailing from their tails, which was condensed by soul power. The spiritual shuttles are intertwined and entwined, weaving a silver-white silk net in the void. Each silver thread carries unpredictable power and has extremely strong cutting ability. It can be used to attack when advancing, and it can be defended when retreating. The skinny old man didn't have much fear, and grabbed the silver mesh with one claw. Laugh. The two were in a stalemate, and terrifying energy fluctuations erupted from the point of contact between their hands and the net. Just the spilled power can cause the surrounding trees to explode and sawdust fly. The rockery behind him also suddenly collapses under the influence of the energy, and the gravel rolls down. Everything within the reach of the power is destroyed. So strong. Such a hard palm. Yi Feng was shocked inside. He is already a sect-level soul master, and now he has the blessing of 6th-level soul skills. It is no problem to deal with ordinary martial masters. But this old man, who looks haggard, waning in years, and sullen, is so powerful. It feels not like an ordinary martial master realm. No wonder, in the rockery just now, the shadow trace was clearly running, but it was still seen through by the other party at a glance. Yi Feng couldn't help but think of the rumors about the head of the Jong family when he was investigating the situation of the Jong family. In recent years, the life and death of Mr. Yang's family has not been known. The appearance and outline of the person in front of him are quite similar to Zhang Yin. The answer is ready to come out. This person is Patriarch Zhang. At the moment of the stalemate, Patriarch Zhang suddenly stopped and retreated. During this process, he withdrew part of his attention and focused in a certain direction. Yi Feng did the same, turning his head to look at the sky. High in the sky, there was a person stepping on a 9-section whip. It was a soul weapon, and it was coming towards this side quickly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.